Oh, now this thing is like right there, messing up my thingy. This is ridiculous. Hey, that's not even in my face.
I'm not having a mild meltdown. I'm not having no meltdowns. My life circumstances.
What whole thing to the right?
The whole stand.
I'm sad.
How so?
But I know I need to stop talking like that around y'all because y'all don't understand. It sounds bad. It's not bad. And things are going okay.
This is ridiculous. It's like right in my head.
I know that on the
I'm
outside.
saying turn that
like a
top
mess, but
canopy towards the light.
Spiritually, things are going in a better direction than they ever have been. So it just takes time for what's going on internally to start to manifest.
It's like on my head.
Externally. So
Where is it?
It looks like this, but then before you know it,
see if I do this, it's not here.
It's the one back there. You probably unscrew
because
this
I've
light.
been working all this time.
Which light is it?
Above your head.
I got a cloud over my head. Yeah, but I'm working. It's loading.
What is this? I've never had this problem before.
Like a bamboo shoot.
This is crap, y'all. There's like a weird light that's showing up. If I do this, I don't see it.
That's kind of the...
Huh? Hey, y'all, what's up? This is some crap. Like, what is this? Can you turn off the lights then? Because this is just ridiculous. This is like hurtful to the eye. They can be watching this.
You want me to turn the light off?
Yeah. Like, what is this? I've never had this issue before. Please.
I don't know. I think that
Sorry, you guys. This is ridiculous. Then it'll be like... But then can you make this other light regular color? But what about the other light? Sorry, you guys. My lighting is kind of like bizarre. So, ooh, here we go. Y'all, sorry. This is like...
Because my friend, I do have a friend, blessed boy. I was talking to him last night, and he was like,
oh, it's just weird. I don't like to go live. It's too much work. I'm tired.
He said, you have to struggle because once you make it,
what are you doing?
Yeah, like you never did struggle. He didn't say
I
like,
guess.
He said it way more profound sounding. But it made so much sense to me. Like,
yeah, I'm so sorry. This is a bootleg live. I'm so tired, you guys. I'm exhausted. I worked out so hard today. But I just came across something. I was like, you know what? Let me make a live about it because this is really crazy. Morning After Dark show, right? Y'all, I'm so tired. I worked out so hard today. But I'm sitting here. I was scrolling through YouTube. And all of a sudden, I see a video from Troy's TV, like a thumbnail. And it has Alyssa Forever on it. And I'm like, why does she look like this, right? Because for a long time, she like deactivated her Instagram. So I was like, oh, okay. Then I'm watching the video and he was like, oh yeah, she says that she's lost everything in LA. You guys have to watch it. Like, it's even on her. She made a live. She made a couple lives on her Instagram, right? And so he went through the live and he was like, yeah, she says that she left LA. She moved out of LA. She only had like $20 to her name. Like, she made a live. She had no money. And so luckily, like, a lot of her fans, supporters, because she put up her Cash App and people blessed her because otherwise she didn't have money. Hey, Val, she didn't have any money to pay for a hotel. You know, she's saying that she cut off all of her LA friends, that everybody that you ever saw her do a collab with, any influencer that you ever saw her in a video, in a picture with, she's not friends with those people. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised that people were trying to use her. They used her. The only reason why they were being her friend, the only reason why they were befriending her, because they wanted to take advantage of her. Which, if you guys remember back in the day, before I completely disappeared from YouTube, right? Alyssa was a big influencer. She was big. Like, I think she did a video on Bantu knots, right? For me, she's very pretty. But she is a Gemini, though, so she's very pretty. She did a video on Bantu knots, and then the video went viral, right? So, you know, a lot of people, and I had to learn that myself, too. I had to learn that myself, you guys. I had to learn it myself. You know, the thing is, I think, like, if you're Beyonce, like, if you're a really famous person, like, if you're Beyonce, if you're a Little Kim, if you're a Nicki Minaj, right? It makes sense for you to always think like, oh, people are just coming to me to exploit me. Does that make sense? When you do YouTube, you're not thinking that, oh, it's that deep. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, oh, it's just YouTube. Like, you're not thinking it's that deep, right? But even me, Marlene, I had to learn, like, a lot of people, I thought we were friends. We were not friends. We were not friends. Like, we were not friends. It was like, what can I get from Marlene? Marlene has a brand that's popping now. Jaclyn Hill is talking about the brand. She has, like, you know, Nikki Tutorials talking about the brand. She's doing photo shoots with this photographer. She's doing photo shoots with James Charles, etc., etc. Like, you know, when I spun the block and I looked at it, I was like, no, these people were never your friends. You know what I mean? They were never your friends. Like, people just wanted what you had access to. But you're not thinking that, you're not thinking that what you have is that precious. You're like, oh, it's just like, oh, it's just YouTube. Oh, it's just me doing videos. It's just me doing that. But these girls, they're not your friends. And I'm like, and that's the part that had me so messed up for so long. Where, like, and that's why, like, the betrayal, it can hurt you so much. That's why, like, I'm relate to her. Because I'm an Aquarius, right? So, air signs, you have Aquarius, Libra, damn shit, and Gemini, right? So, you know, where people, I mean, I don't know about Libra, because the Libra people I've met, they're, I can't even be bothered. But I will say this, like, as far as, like, Aquarius, even like Gemini too, because I've seen that with my uncle, not even just Jimmy, but I saw that with my uncle. I feel like, as far as I can talk about Aquarius and talk about Gemini people, right, that those are air signs that are very loyal in friendship. You understand? They're very loyal in friendship. That's why I had a friend a long time ago, right? My mom was asking about her. I was like, I haven't talked to her in like 4 years or so, right? But I'm sure she's good though, right? I'm sure she's good. But even for her to be a Gemini, and the way she moved, y'all, like, I was messed up. I was so messed up. I said, Marlene, this is not healthy, because you should never like a person so much that when they behave like this, it hurts you like this. Does that make sense? Like, it was a lot for me. Because usually, you know, Gemini people, like, they're known to be a little crazy in their heads. But I think, like, overall, when you're dealing with a Gemini person, though, you're dealing with somebody who's quite loyal, right? You're dealing with somebody that's quite loyal. They might have, like, 2 faces that represents Gemini, but they can try to test your, like, they'll try to test your friendship or, like, test your love. But I feel like, overall, when you're dealing with a Gemini person, unless you were really trifling and they're trying to get back at you, but I feel like if they don't have issues to not trust you, I just feel like Gemini people are very loyal. Libra, no, they're not loyal people at all. Okay? Very ungrateful people, by the way. So, that was the thing. But you're not thinking all of that, right? You're not thinking all of that. And I remember, like, even when I was in New Orleans, like, the kind of people I would invite to New Orleans, like, put up at the Ritz-Carlton, the way I was so nice to these girls, thinking like, oh, that's a friend, that's a little sis, that's this, that's that. And the way you get the way they pay you back, no, the stuff is like, is traumatic. It is really, really traumatic, right? So for her to sit here and say that, you know, like, all the people, and it's most of them are like the black girls in the beauty community, right? That they're not her friends, like, God revealed things about these girls, etc., etc. I said, I believe it, because I've been there. I've seen it for myself. Right? They were only friends with Alyssa because Alyssa was really popping. Right? She was really popping. And I feel like when you're a regular person and you know the YouTube stuff, I do think like you have the narcissist people. Like, you have people who were like never relevant in high school, never had good fashions in high school, they never had money in high school, they always struggled, their parents struggled. So these people are just looking for like validation from random people. So you have that, you definitely have those types of people. But I do feel like you do have people too, like, they grew up like, okay, like, you know, I'm famous, I wasn't really popular, but I don't really care. Maybe you were really popular, but you don't really care. But you're not looking at YouTube as like, this is how I'm going to validate myself. This is how I'm going to be somebody. Like, this is how I'm going to dominate other people. This is how I'm going to abuse other people. And so you see that when these girls do become popular on social media, when their efforts finally pay off, how do they use their social media? They use their social media for evil. Hey, Lily, they use their social media to cancel people, hurt people, punish people, create cliques for people, because deep down inside, that's what happens when you come from a poverty mindset. That's what happens when you come from a scarcity mindset, right? And people like that, I'm telling you, somebody who is hungry for many things will never be free. And when you're not free, you can't be a real friend. Because all you ever think about, hey Charlie, all you could ever think about is yourself. All you think about is yourself. All you care about is yourself. Like how your stuff affects other people, you don't care. How your actions affect other people, you don't care. Because you look at people as an end to it, like a means to an end. Like you don't even see like, yo, that's a person. That's a human being. You don't care. Because all you care about is what you want. You know what I'm saying? All you care about is what you want. And that's one of the sick games that is played on social media, right? People think about, oh, how can I be friends with this girl so I can take advantage of her, get on her YouTube channel, or do a collaboration with her so that my numbers can pop, etc. And then once you pop, you throw away the person. Right? Once you get bigger, or like, you know, you kiss their asses in the comment section, right? Trying to get their attention. And when they finally pay attention to you, and then you pretend to be their friend, you know, you bamboozle these people, and they think like, oh, you're coming to me honestly, like you're truly trying to build a friendship with me. But the whole time you have a plan. How can I attach myself to her? Then I'm going to finesse, pretend to be her friend. I'm going to text her nonstop. I'm going to buy her gifts. Da, 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 da. None of that stuff is sincere. And then once she finally lets me in, we'll do a collaboration, right? If I get more subscribers than her, then ooh, F her. You understand? Because even like before, because there was this, like, I think it was like during the COVID thing, she went live and she was talking about how she was struggling. She had nobody there to help her. And I was really confused because I'm thinking, and this is why I tell you, like, this whole black community stuff is bullshit. This whole like, oh, let's put pressure on on these white brands to create more foundation for black women is crap. Because you, in your personal life, you treat black women like they're disposable your damn self, right? It is all bullshit. To just create drama, create outrage, because outrage sells. When you can build up a lot of outrage out here, you become a good commodity, right? Just like Black Lives Matter, they built themselves around outrage, not really having a real heart to change things, not even having a love for black people. These people were just in it for themselves, but they recognize that it is profitable to sell outrage. It is profitable to position yourself where some people are completely neglected, where some people are completely disenfranchised, when some people are without protection, right? Pretend like you care. Pretend like you want to be their voice. Pretend like, oh, I'm fighting for you. But in all honesty, you're fighting for yourself because you understand there's money to be made in outrage. But I was really confused because I'm like, Alyssa knows a lot of these girls. And when these girls were not known on YouTube, when these girls were not known in the beauty community on YouTube, when these girls were up and coming and trying to get themselves out there as black girls who do YouTube, Alyssa did so many collaborations. So if today, you guys' number, you ladies, if y'all numbers are up, right? If your numbers are up and her numbers are going down, you know, what would a sister do? What would a real black person do? What would somebody that care about the community do? You say, oh, you know what? I remember when I didn't have enough, you shared with me. Today I have more than you. So let's do a collaboration. Return the favor. Return the elevator. They don't do that. They are very mean. But at the same time, too, though, like, you know, one reason, like, another thing is, like, I blame a lot of these subscribers because a lot of people don't have discernment. A lot of people don't have discernment. Or maybe it's just greed. Because maybe a lot of people, if they were in those positions too, they will take advantage of people. Because I'm like, there's no way you don't see how some people exploit other people. There's no way that you don't see how some people finesse themselves into certain circles, onto certain people's channels just to get ahead. And once they got ahead, they change. And every season they have a new friends group. There's no way you don't see that kind of stuff. There's no way you don't see it. Even for her, in the sad part about these things too, like when you're in it, you don't see it. Because you think, oh, no, these are good people, blah, blah, blah. It takes hardship. It takes going through like hard situations in your life to really recognize who your real friends are and who the users are. So that's the sad part. Like, it would be really nice if while everything is good, you could truly see and you could truly know who's for you and who's not with you like that, right? But unfortunately, you have to go through bad situations. Sometimes you have to even maybe like lose it all for you to recognize like, yo, like this person was really my friend and this person really wasn't my friend, right? They were just latching on to me because they needed something from me. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't really care about my mental health. They didn't care about what I was doing. They didn't care about seeing me, trying to see me do good. No, they probably resented the fuck that I was doing good too. You understand? So I'm like, for her, I'm like, yeah, and that stuff really hurts. Especially especially like when you're an air sign. I'm like, yeah, that stuff really hurts. So I can see how like mentally she's messed up. Right. So then she talked about like how she like left LA. She trying to move back with her dad. Her dad told her to move in. Right. And she had been there for 5 months. And I guess like she's like, she didn't even have like shampoo. She didn't have like feminine hygiene products. Maybe I will. Right. And so she was asking her dad, like, oh, can you help me? Like, I'll be your assistant, but just give me like $150, whatever. And he was like, oh, no, go get a job. Trying to tell her to get a job. And she's like, what am I going to do? Work at Walmart? He's like, get a job, et cetera, right? So she was like, she's confused because her dad told her, come live with me so you can get your stuff back, you know, get rooted again and found your foundation. But then he didn't want to help her, didn't want to give her any money. And it seems like he's a psychologist. He's a doctor, like Dr. G from Married to Medicine. So I'm like, I'm sure he has money. But he didn't want to give it to her. But I feel as though when I was listening to that, for a dad to be triggered by his daughter asking him for $150, especially when he's a doctor, that's kind of weird. But I do feel like maybe he thought she was going through it mentally, but that she still had money, right? Because when you look at her video from like back in the day, right, when she was really popping and the brands were all over her, right? Alyssa had money. She was doing very well for herself, right? She was doing very, very well. I remember when she left her, like, her former state, had her brand new Mercedes, and her and Nathan drove all the way to LA. You know, she was doing very well for herself. So I feel like to some extent, is there jealousy from her dad? Like, did he think, oh yeah, maybe she's going through it mentally, but she has the coins. So she's going to come here, stay here, and she's going to be able to, you know, help me financially and maybe take me on vacation. But then when she comes in, here you have this famous YouTuber daughter that has millions of people. You've seen her lifestyle in LA, and now she's coming into your house and she can't even afford anything. You have to give her money. I think there's some bitterness there. I think there's some jealousy there. I think there's resentment, right? Because maybe he felt like when it was good for you, you didn't give me $150, right? And that's the thing, like, that's one thing I will say to her too. But, you know, everything in life is perspective. Like, when you're young, you never had that kind of money. You have that kind of money. But I do feel like it's good to make Hollywood friends. It's good to make YouTuber friends. It's good to, you know, buy stuff for boyfriends, et cetera, et cetera. But when you make your buku money, take care of your family. Because these people out here are not your real friends. And when your family sees you spend all kinds of money, go on vacation with a bunch of strangers, people who never helped you, you know what I mean? There could be some resentment there. So I do think her daddy has resentment because did she break bread with him when she started making all this money she was making on the internet, right? Did she take her dad on vacation when she was taking other YouTubers to Paris? Okay, I'm not going to say their names though, right? But she did a lot for these random people on the internet. But it's like, did you do the same for your dad? You know what I'm saying? So maybe there he feels like, well, when you had it, you didn't give me $150. So why should I give you $150? Yeah, it's petty. He shouldn't look at it that way. And maybe he should also tell her how he really feels, right? Instead of pretending like he's trying to give her tough love. You know what I mean? If you're bitter about some stuff, just talk about it. Just talk about it. Like, let's just talk about it. Like, I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. But I'm like, it really breaks my heart. Because I'm going to tell you this. For me, Marlene, I've watched her videos, but I was never like a subscriber of her like that, right? When we went to BeautyCon, I took Lena Lashes to BeautyCon in 2016, right? And so the booth I paid for at BeautyCon back then, because they were just starting out, right? The booth that I paid for, it came with access to like the VIP section. Okay, and so I didn't go there too much because I had to work, so I let somebody else go there. Mistake. But towards the end, I'm like, you know what? I'm paying for this, so let me go to the VIP section. So I go to the VIP section. It was like a bunch of YouTubers, bunch of influencers there. You guys, I'm telling you, I had just had Stefan, so I was like big, you guys. I was big. I don't know, maybe I was like 240 or something. Like, I was really fat. Like, my complexion was off. My hair was a mess. Yo, I was so tired. You know, I was so exhausted. So I was in there, and then here comes Alyssa Forever. You guys, when I tell you that girl is beautiful, she is gorgeous. I mean, just like she is tall. Like, bikini body, like, the girl's fine. She is beautiful. So she walks up to me, and I remember I had, like, this ratchet dress. It's like this ratchet, y'all, I was a mess. I was going through it. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. So I walked to, I was standing there. So she walked up this way and I introduced myself to her and then I introduced the brand to her. But the way I looked though, I didn't think she was going to take me seriously. Like, girl, you look crazy. Why would I ever promote your brand? So, you know, BeautyCon happened. We packed our stuff. We went back to New Orleans. When I got back to New Orleans, I got a text message from the other Alyssa Ashley. Got a message from her. And I was like, okay. She was like, oh yeah, Alyssa wants to do a video. She wants to do a collab video with your products. And I was like, huh? How much is that gonna cost, right? So she was the one, Alyssa Forever. She's the one who came up with the Black-owned makeup challenge. The bomb makeup challenge, like, I don't know, what the heck is this, right? Because, and I think at that time, too, a lot of people didn't even know that Leon Lashes was Black-owned, whatever. So she's like, yeah, so she wants to do a thing with your products. So if you could send us some stuff. And I was like, oh, for sure. Like, that's crazy. Just like that. And I was like, I was really confused because, you guys, the way I looked that day, I'm being, like, honest. The way I looked that day, I looked crazy. You wouldn't think I own a business, y'all. I look like a homeless person. You understand? So for her to just look past that and be like, you know what? Let me do something for her. That really touched my heart. So then I sent him the lipsticks. I had because I had just released my liquid lipsticks. And so I sent him the lipsticks. She got her lipsticks. She went on Snapchat. She put on the shade. I had this brown chocolate shade called Frederique. When I tell you, so they do the little collab. I don't even know what's going on with this stuff, right? The bomb makeup challenge. It was Alyssa's idea. So they go live, you guys. They go live. I mean, hey, the way money started to come on that website thing, you guys are like, Jaclyn Hill did her thing, but the way Alyssa, and I'm not, even though it was both Alyssa, but I know most of the views came from Alyssa Forever. You understand? Like, most of the coins, the orders, they came from Alyssa. She did, you know, she like do the little curly, she likes her little curly hair with the Bantu knots, and then she put Frederique on, and then Snapchat had the filter with the little cat. Girl, people would go crazy. And she kept tagging Leon Lashes. Then the video, their collaboration video goes live. You guys, the money was just coming in like, brr, brr, brr. I think like within hours, I mean like $22,000 or $25,000. Just like that. And I was, you guys, this, like, when I tell you it has marked me, like, that was like what, like 7 years ago? 7 years ago. I'm still talking about it. Like, the way it marked me. Because the way I looked, the way we had our interaction, y'all, I was like, yo, she probably thinks I'm crazy, whatever. For us to leave that event and for her to think of me and say, like, you know what? I want to put this Black girl on the map. I want to put her brand on the map. And she never even asked for anything. When the money came, I was like, oh, I got to bless, because I never had her number. I had Alyssa's number, but I didn't have her number. So I gave Alyssa, like, part of it. And her, I bought her something from Nike, but then Nike canceled because it was like 16. Because I figured I would give them each, like, because it was $22,000. I said, okay, I'm going to give you $2,000. I'm going to give her $2,000, right? But when I spent the money on Nike, they canceled. Because I had it in my name, but the shipping address was going to her. Because I knew she liked Nike a lot. So then they canceled the transaction. It was like July. What time was it? It was like July 2016, right? So when they sent it back to me, so I was telling Alyssa, I was like, oh, check, make sure she had the gift card. And I think I was talking to her also on Instagram, but I don't remember. But like, so they canceled the stuff. They sent me back the money. By the time they sent me back the money, I wanted her to buy her another gift card. This is when I had my production issues and my money problems started to happen for me, right? But I was like, I will never forget how kind this girl is. And so when I found out she was a Gemini, I said, oh, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. You guys, I wish you would have seen, like, I wish you would have seen me. I wish you would have seen me at BeautyCon. I have a picture on my other page. Bruna, for the Lord is my witness. I'm like, the money, it was like, every single order was Frederique. I'm telling you, from that day on, I have not been able to keep Frederique in stock because of that girl. You know me, people like, a lot of people think I'm mean or whatever. I am not mean. I'm a woman of principle. See, when you are goofy and you're on some bullshit and you're a fake ass girl, I'm gonna tell you, you're a fake ass girl. Like, I don't care about your views. I don't care about your subscriber count. I don't care how much money you got, because I saw how you started. We all started on YouTube on the floor over here, okay? So I know the real you. I will never, and I'm not a person that is gonna like you know, change what I say or say things differently because, oh, if I say that, she's gonna be mad. Who is she? I don't worship people. When God made me, he didn't ask for your consent. When my father brought me to America, you didn't give him $1 to pay for my plane ticket. When I went to school, all years of my schooling, never did I borrow a pencil from you. I don't owe nobody nothing. You know, I'm legit African. It's only in America that a lot of people will prostitute their voice, their character, their integrity, who they are, because they want to protect their interests. No, like Jesus said, you want to protect your life, you'll lose it. If you're willing to lose your life for me, you'll keep it. I tell the truth. Like, even It's My Ray Ray too. Another one. It's My Ray Ray. It's My Ray Ray. That girl, the way she is nice, you guys. It's My Ray Ray. God will always have his hands on her. Have you ever heard It's My Ray Ray in drama? Have you ever heard anybody say, oh, I don't like her, or I have issue with Ray, blah, blah, blah? Have you ever heard this girl be in no problems? It's My Ray Ray. She has been one of the nicest. Every time I send her PR packages, even now she's not as like viral as she used to be, but like when she was like boom 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 boom, it's My Ray Ray, that little song she used to have, like It's My Ray Ray. It didn't matter. Even when these girls tried the little cancellation movement, she was still promoting Leon lashes. No matter if I send her lashes, send her lipstick, she gonna find a way to do a story, do a like, never ask me for money. And that day too, when we went to BeautyCon, before the event started, we had to go to Target because I didn't know you had to decorate. I was like, what the heck? What is this? I gotta spend more money here. So there's like this big shopping center in LA. It's like, it has like a Target in there. So I dropped the girls off. I said, okay, y'all go in there, start getting the stuff so we can decorate this place, right? And then I drive down the parking lot downstairs. It's like right there. It's like in the middle of like downtown LA. Like right there. It's not far from the convention center. And so as I park, get up the elevator, I'm walking towards the shopping center. Who do I see come out? Ray, right there. She's so petite. I was like, oh my gosh, right? And I said to her, I'm not gonna, don't want to make you awkward or anything like that, but I said, oh, thank you so much for like the way you rep Leon lashes. Like, I appreciate you. She just come out of her cycling class. She's like, oh, you're so welcome. And I give her a hug. She went about her business. I'm about my business. I'm not gonna start screaming and acting a fool. Like, I don't do that, right? But even after that too, she kept promoting. I'm telling you, like that girl, another one. She's really nice. Like, if you're black owned business, send her your stuff. Like, she is really sweet. So that was really, really crazy. That was so crazy, y'all. And it really touched me. It truly, truly touched me. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine she met me one time at BeautyCon, and that's the way I am. I really believe in gratitude, unless you prove me otherwise, right? But if you help me, no matter what, good or bad, I will always say, yeah, when I was going through this stuff, this person did X, Y, and Z for me, right? It was her, Susan, what she did for me with Frederic, Lord will bless her for the rest of her natural human life, right? So I'm like, she met me under those circumstances, and she did that for me. I can only imagine when you get close to her, how generous she must be. You know what I'm saying? I can only, even after the thing, like me trying to buy that gift card from Nike fell from her. She didn't harass me. She didn't get mad. She didn't get upset. But I always say, God, when my stuff gets restored, though, I know I owe her big time, because what she did for the brand like that, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You guys, I have never seen, I'm not trying to be offensive, right? I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm not trying to demean anybody. But at that time, that was like 2016, right? I had never seen a black girl generate that many sales. Because I'm not trying to be funny, but a lot of black girls in beauty, they don't convert. They don't bring sales. You know what I mean? They make a lot of noise. They cry about brands sponsoring them, but a lot of them do not move product. They don't move product. They don't move products like the white girls move product. I'm just being honest, right? Because when you work with an influencer, you're trying to move your product. Like, you want to sell product. That's the whole purpose of, like, okay, if you're an influencer, you should be able to influence people to buy shit. If you're an influencer, or you claim to be an influencer, and the only thing you can promote is controversy and drama, are you really an influencer, or are you a gossip page, right? But I'm like, I had never seen that. So with her, I was like, wow, like, this girl can really sell. So I can only imagine, like, other brands who work with her, like, more, like, in a more structured way, more professional way, I can only imagine how much money she brought to their business. I'm just telling you my little story over here, right? I'm telling my little story. So I'm listening to her, and I'm like, you know what? Me, myself, being an air sign and being an empath, like, I really get it. You know what I mean? But the good thing is, like me, the way I felt, because I was, of course it's sad to see a young woman that is like, especially that I have seen with my own eyes. Like, y'all, she is really beautiful. She is gorgeous, right? To see such a beautiful girl who can do so much, from makeup, hair, music, clothes, shoes. I mean, what is it that she can't do? But then again, she's a Gemini, so it makes perfect sense, right? So it's really sad. But as I was watching this, I said, no, she's going to be okay. Sometimes we don't understand God's ways, and sometimes it can seem so like, sometimes the way God will separate you from toxicity, the way God will separate you from foolishness, the way God will separate you from secular things and secular people, the way God will separate you from a lifestyle that you thought like, oh, but it's my lifestyle. The way God will just separate you, it can seem so violent. I've been through it, okay? It can seem so violent. Like when it's time for you to go on your spiritual journey, when your time has come to really get to know God, when your time has come for you to master yourself, master who you are, master your gifts, master your stuff, like, y'all, it seems like somebody threw you inside a washing machine and your whole life is just it's like a big swirl of confusion, right? But what gives me comfort is that I know she's going to be okay. Because think about it. What Gemini do you know that has never been okay? I don't know how these people do it. Like, I'm serious. Like, that's something I've really noticed with them. I don't know how Gemini people do it. They always find a way. It's like they always reinvent themselves, right? Think of Kanye. And the funny thing is, I was like, if I remember correctly, she's a Gemini. So I looked her up, right? Her birthday is June 7th. So she just had a birthday recently. June 7th is her birthday, like a week ago, right? Kanye is June 8th. Kanye is June 8th. Right? You got your boy Trump over there too. He always finds a way. Right? But I'm like, they're just people. It's like when it comes to Gemini, it's like they have the highest of highs and then they have the lowest of lows. But it's like they're like cats. They always find a way to land on their feet, right? And one time I was sitting here and I was watching a video on octopus. Y'all, you know how these animals like appear to me, whatever? I was watching a video on an octopus, you guys. I think it was like Discovery Channel. I was watching an entire video on the octopus, right? And I was like, I'm watching the video. And I said, oh my gosh. This is like Jimmy. This is like my husband. I said, octopus has to be the spirit animal for Gemini people. Because they always find a way to escape. They always find a way to get out. And the thing about them, the thing about Gemini people too, they're very beautiful people. They're always attractive. They are very attractive. If you ever meet a Gemini man or woman, they're always attractive people. They're very charismatic people. People love them. People naturally love Gemini people. People love them. People want to help them. People want to be their friend. Like, they're very charismatic. I don't know. That's just like my uncles. All my uncles are the same way. Like, it just comes with them. They're like very pretty things that people want to have around them. And you see it with her, very pretty. They're very pretty. They're very creative. They're very charismatic. So it's like they always find a way with people. Like, look at Kanye. Think about Kanye, right? Remember how Kanye was like super, super broke? He lost like $50 million. He went to a mental home. He was cuckoo in the head. They had to put him in a straitjacket, right? Think about how much debt Kanye had over his head for him to come back with Adidas, doing the Yeezys, becoming almost a billionaire. You see what I'm saying? He never gave up. A lot of people, if they owed $50 million, they would have killed themselves. Like even Donald Trump, you don't have to like him, but my point is, like, even when it comes to Donald Trump, no matter how much they want to send him to jail, arrest him, search his house, he don't give up. He does not give up. There is something beautifully resilient about Gemini people. Now, what I will say, like listening to her, because I'm like, she has to discover who she is. And she has to understand how to be a strong Gemini. Not just like, because, even me, like I had to learn what it meant to be an Aquarius, right? Because you can be something, but if you don't know how to use it for your own good, unfortunately, it can destroy you. Right? Because the thing about air signs, like I can say for myself being Aquarius, or for Gemini people that I've noticed, Libra, I don't know. But my thing is, like, being an air sign, first and foremost, being on this earth itself, it feels like a burden. Okay? Like when you're dealing with like earth sign, like when you're dealing with like Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, these people actually want to be here. Okay, like Earth sign, you have 3, right? It's Capricorn, it is Taurus, and it's Virgo. So those people actually want to be here. They want to dominate the Earth. Like you'll notice that a lot of people who are materialistically successful, people who have a lot of money a lot of times, right? Who do crazy, crazy stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? You will notice that a lot of them tend to be air sign. They tend to be earth sign. Like, for example, Candy Burris, she's a Taurus, right? Like, yesterday, I've been binge watching Star Wars. And I was like, oh, I wonder what, like, George Lucas, because George Lucas, he became a billionaire with Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and stuff like that. I'm like, that stuff is, like, really crazy. Looked up his birthday, too. He's a Taurus, right? Stevie Wonder, he's a Taurus. Like, a lot of people. I think MLK, I think Martin Luther King was a Capricorn, but it's like if you look, Beyonce, she's a Virgo. So a lot of times, like when you look at material success like that, people who just love money and want to be earthly successful and will do anything to be earthly successful, usually you'll find that air sign, like earth signs are there. Like when it comes to that kind of stuff for air signs, you know, I feel like Aquarius and Gemini they're not so attached to that kind of stuff because they care more about like the way things ought to be, philosophy, spirituality, religion, faith, like anything that involves like the abstract is where you'll find Gemini and Aquarius, right? You know, I feel like Libra, I guess because Libra is closer to Scorpio, so maybe like they have a thing for like money and earth and dominating people and being, you know, scheming and plotting and doing all kind of weird stuff, right? But when you look at Aquarius, you look at Gemini, they tend to be people who are concerned with the higher good. What's the greater good? What's God's will? Like they're really into like spirituality, all kinds of stuff like that, right? They're really also about being autonomous. You know, like trying to force structure or your personal structure or your earthly structure on the Gemini, you will make them miserable. And eventually, they're going to rebel from you because there are people who don't like to be contained. Same thing goes for Aquarius, right? These people need their own space. They need their personal space. And then they have to go at their own speed because they don't believe in the world. They truly don't. Like, it's really hard. So when they get heartbroken, like when they're really sad, like, right? When they're really sad, when Gemini is really sad, Aquarius is really sad, when they've been like broken because they care so much about the world, humanity, society, they care so much about their friends, they care so much about family. When you break their heart, it's really bad. And it can take a long time for them to heal. You understand, right? Because like when Troyce was making his video, he's like, oh, I don't understand why she don't want to get a job. I don't understand why, right? And I said, let me tell you something, right? If you don't understand, like there's more, like you have to understand people on an individual level. You understand? And the thing is too, that's why I tell you guys, like astrology is real. I used to not believe in that stuff, but now I really do believe in it. Okay? Like for her, for most Gemini people, even myself included, right? The fact that Saturn is in Aquarius, you guys, this stuff is real. This stuff is really real, y'all. This stuff is really real. This stuff is very real. Because even in James, like I saw that in James, like I saw him struggling too. You know, Saturn in Aquarius is a very, very difficult sign. It is very hard. I think like once upon a time, Uranus used to be like the ruler of Aquarius, but something happened, I guess. So now it's Saturn that rules Aquarius, right? So like right now, we're in I guess like for 3 years. It came out a little bit in 2020, then it came right back in. So I think we're going to be in Saturn and Aquarius until like 2024, right? And so what happens, you see the thing with Gemini people, first of all, right? Gemini people, because it's 2 of them in one body, it's 2 people, like it really is like 2 different entities in one person, right? And so what they've gotten away with, what they have gotten away before when Saturn was not in Aquarius, right? Because Saturn, right? Like Saturn is Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of discipline. It forces you to have structure. It's like you're going to boot camp. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to military boot camp. Because I felt it. Like it's a very strong energy. And it feels like you're being punished. Like you feel like you're being tortured. Right? But the thing is, it's like you're being squeezed. Like when you squeeze a sponge, you're trying to squeeze water out the sponge, whatever, right? And so it's like when you're a Gemini and you've always had this flexibility of changing faces, right? You can be this person one day, you can be somebody else another day, right? You've gotten away with it. You know, you were able to go through life and have this like freedom of choice, this fluidity. Like, you can be this person today, you can be somebody else today, right? Gemini does this, and they do it very well. You're like, is this the same person I met yesterday, right? But then here comes Saturn, and it's like, Gemini, you have to pick one thing, and it's really hard, because like, yo, this is my freedom, right? This is like, you're trying to force me to be just one thing when I want to be many, many things. I don't want to be just one thing, right? I want to be many, many things. And there's this confusion too. Then Aquarius also comes in like, oh my gosh, like, what's happening too? Because Aquarius too, we're like, oh, we're people with ideas. And that's what happens when you want to, like, when you're concerned about the world and make the world a better place, you're full of ideas, because I feel like Aquarius to some extent also is an idealist. I feel like when you talk about Gemini, I feel like Gemini is this person that's always chasing their creativity. Where can my creativity take me next? You know what I'm saying? And then they enjoy how they get to, like, metamorphose, or like they get to camouflage themselves as they pursue different interests. Oh, maybe I can be this person today, maybe I can be that person, and they think it's funny, right? For other people it's really confusing. It's like, who are you? Like, I have a hard time discerning who you truly are. Aquarius is like, oh, what if the world was like this? And they wake up tomorrow like, you know what, I changed my mind. What if the world was like this? What about this? What about that? Like, you know, Aquarius is like a how you say it? It's like a it's like an abundance of ideas. Like, you're always, like, you're so full of ideas, because that's how you are. You're meant to, like, see the world in the way it ought to be, the way it should be, the way that's best for humanity. And so what happens when people are very creative like this, and people are driven by the air like this, right? They do lack a sense of being pragmatic. Right? There's like, you lack a sense of being pragmatic. You lack a sense of urgency. You lack a sense of structure, because everything that's in you despises structure. You know what I mean? You like, yo, I'm here to flow. Like, I flow. Like, what is the structure? Right? And then so Saturn comes in and imposes structure on a being, on a spirit that never wanted structure. That looks at structure as, this right here is meant to destroy me. You're trying to destroy me. And like, this is something like even I had to learn from myself, right? Because I was talking to my other best friend. She's also an Aquarius. And I said to her, right, I had to come to a point where I had to recognize that discipline, right? Like, having structure, like that discipline, amen, right? It actually is freedom. It is freedom, right? The more disciplined you are, the freer you are. But the fear, like the lack of trust for an air sign is like, well, if my life is like boom, 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 right? Would I be myself? I don't want to be like those people. Because I will say too, though, which I have to admit, I'm an Aquarius, so I do have to admit that. But you would find that, you know, air signs, you know, feel it when you're dealing with an air sign, really. You're dealing with people who feel like God left them in charge of the world. So there is ego. There is pride. Like, oh, no, I'm just not me. Like, you want me to act like these humans? Like, you want me to act like these earthlings? Absolutely not. I am better than those people. Right? And so sometimes, like, and a lot of times, not even sometimes, but a lot of times what happens is what? Is that you fail to recognize, like, you have, for as creative and as visionary as you are, you need structure. And if you don't think you can have the structure, you have to be around people who can give you that structure. You understand, right? And I remember one time I was sitting there and I was watching a video it was like a quick TikTok from, I guess it was a YouTube, but the girl put it on TikTok. But it was a TikTok with Aaliyah's face in there. Aaliyah's also a Gemini. Right? Lee's also Gemini. And so in the video, she was saying, I had to get to a point where I had to accept the world for what it is. Right? And I felt like, and like even me too, like I had to go through that journey too, like from being an idealist to being a realist. Like, the world is an ugly place. It truly is an ugly place. And there comes a time where, as an air sign, you have to learn to not be so sensitive. You have to learn to not let your soul, like, don't plug your soul too much into the feelings of the world, because it will drain you. You know what I mean? Like wanting to love everybody and then want people to love you right back, or thinking because you're that type of friend, you won't get the same type of friendship back from people. Right? thinking that, oh, because you would give other people time, they will also give you the time you need to heal. No. People only think about their self-interest, right? But it's a journey. It's a journey that she's on, right? It's a journey, like it's her spiritual journey, because she has to learn to master herself. You know, because like you can be very creative. You can have lots of gifts, right? But if you haven't learned to master your mind, if you haven't learned to master your sign, like what does it mean to be my sign? And to every sign, there's good and bad. And if you don't learn to master your sign for yourself, right, it will destroy you. Especially when you have a sign that is meant to be empathetic and that is meant to be extra sensitive. You have to learn, and I'm like, you have to learn mastery of self, or your own self will destroy you. Your own idealism will destroy you. You know what I mean? Because you're not seeing how to be pragmatic. And we see that a lot with Kanye, right? We see it a lot with him. Like, Kanye has great ideas. You know, like, oh, this thing wants to die. Like, you'll see, like, Kanye has great ideas, right? And then everybody thinks he's crazy. He fights. He proves people wrong. The idea comes out. The idea is freaking amazing. But then he'll find a way to go destroy it. Right? And there's something like, I don't know, like, you know how when you look at, when you look at Van Gogh, we gotta see what his birthday was, but Van Gogh, for example, as an artist, you know, he liked torturing himself. He would cut off his limbs. He would cut off his ears. One time, I think he cut off his ears, and because he was dating a prostitute, he was dating a one-legged prostitute, and he cut off his ear, and he gave it to the lady. Right? So you can want to be a tortured artist as an air sign, right? Where you feel like the only time your work has any meaning, or the only time you can bring value, is like, I have to be tortured in order to create the greatest good, or in order to create my greatest art, I need to go through pain. I need to go through torture, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to be the same way too, right? Because we think only torture, self-punishment, self-deprivation, like, you know, denying ourselves of things, and, you know, and just living like the purest form of spirituality, like living the purest form of integrity or whatever. We think that's the way that we're going to get there. And it's like, I don't think so. Even I had to learn that. You know what I'm saying? There's like being a purist, yeah, it's kind of cute. Ideology, like in your head, you know, in terms of like big ideas and stuff, like, yeah, it's kind of cute, but it's not pragmatic, because even though you are a spiritual being, a huge part of you is driven by your spirit and who your spiritual entity is. You're still part of this world, right? And you have to succeed in this world. And that to me was really hard, because when I hit my depression too, I was like, oh, I'm done with this place. You know, like it became actually insufferable for me, right? To actually want to be here. I was like, this world is evil. And all you see in the world is just evil stuff, because the world really is an evil place. And so when you have that strong spiritual understanding, when you understand how deeply the wickedness runs in this world, it's sick. And then when you also have to experience betrayal from people that you thought were your friends, right? On top of it's like, okay, the world is wicked, that I know. There are evil people out there, that I know. But how was I so blinded, or how was I so foolish that I allowed people close to me who also had that spirit in them, right? And this is where we also have to learn forgiveness. And that was really hard for me, you know, but I thank God, because Marlene, like 2020 Marlene and 2023 Marlene is two different people. Because 2020, I wanted God to punch a whole lot of people. I even started working out because I wanted to beat up somebody personally. I was like, if I ever meet this woman, I will beat the shit out of her. You know what I'm trying to say? And that really fueled my workouts. Like, I would be out there just running like a crazy person, because I said, if I ever meet this woman, I need to beat the shit out of her. Like you wake up in the morning and you have fantasies about showing up at somebody's office and beating the dog shit out of her. You understand? But I thank God, though, for saving me. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, that's not the way. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the process of like self-mastery, right? Today, I think about things, because, you know, sometimes you could be walking, whatever, and the devil will try to bring back something, a thought, a memory, you know, or something that somebody said to try to trigger you, right? And I'm so grateful that, like, you know, revenge, bitterness, sadness, being heartbroken, it's no longer my path, because I understand that these people had to do what they had to do. You know what I mean? When you've been a friend to someone, when you've loved people, when you've helped people, and they repay you with some fuckery, right? You have to get to a place where you understand. Like, no matter how big and how deep the transgression was, it had to happen to teach you mastery. You have to master your emotions. You know what I mean? And if God allows a person to trigger you because you had to learn to deal with that immature part of you, you understand? Life is not meant so that you go out there and every time you manifest love, love comes back to you. No, it only happens with God. When you manifest love with God, He will give you the love back. You understand, right? Human beings have a PhD in ungratefulness, right? Human beings, yeah. You know what I mean? Human beings have a specific gene. They have a specific makeup constitution for paying people with ingratitude. Look at how they did Jesus. Look at how they do God every single day anyways, right? So who are you? If a person can make a promise to God, oh God, I promise if you save me today, I'll never do it again. And as soon as God bailed them out, 30 minutes later, they're right back to the sin. You are nothing to those people. So, okay, this is what you should expect from people. So it's like people are gonna always pay you in chump change. For the good you do people, for the love you give people, for the care and kindness you give people, they will pay you back in ways that they can really traumatize you, right? But if you are hurt, in pain, traumatized, disoriented by how people have paid you back, right? It just lets you know that spiritually you have a lot of self-mastery to do. Because the problem is not with them, the problem is with you. How you react to people and how they treat you shows a lot, right? About the work that you still have to do on yourself. Right? And it's obvious with Alyssa, she has a lot of work to do on herself because, being popular, being in LA, being in the spotlight, you know what I'm saying? You can barely have time to get to know self because when you're popular, you're living for flesh, right? And when you're living for flesh, you attract other people who are living for flesh. Everybody's just here for a good time, for views, collaboration, money, bigger checks, Nobody is here to say, how do I become a better version of myself, right? People don't befriend people to say, oh, I wonder how you can make me a better version, spiritual, a better version of myself. People say, oh, I'll be friends with you so I can get more followers and get more money. It's all about the flesh. The entire business is all about the flesh. All the moves you make are about flesh. Relationship, friendship, sexual ones, everything is about the flesh. Right? So you don't have time to mature spiritually when you're in that type of situation, when you're in that type of pond, when you're in that type of aquarium over there, right? So God takes you away. And now you become a fish out of water. You know what I mean? Like for example, right? Let's say all the friends you met during your YouTube days when you were popping. Now you see that a lot of these girls were never there for you, blah, blah, blah. You see all their flaws now. Why? Because you've been removed from the water. Right? Because when you're a fish inside of a tank, dirty water, when you've always been there, it don't look dirty to you until somebody takes you out the water and you say, oh my God, how was I even able to breathe in that water? Right? But you were also part of the mist. You might not have been as bad as these other people, but you were also part of the mist. So sometimes when you are upset at people or you're disappointed in people or you're hurt by people, you must also remember that at some point they were your people, right? And you shared a common likeliness with those people. You only see their flaws now because of how they've left you out. But had they kept you in the circle, you probably wouldn't have found anything wrong with their ways. You understand? And that's why a lot of times, like when you look at the Bible, for example, a lot of the people who become, I guess, like great in the Bible, there was a time where they were part of the people who oppressed other people. It's not until they were outcasted or they ran away or something happened when they're no longer in that aquarium they start to be like, oh my gosh, this person is evil. This is wrong. This is that. But when you were in it, like you take Saul, right? When Saul was out here torturing Christians and killing the Christians, he didn't see nothing wrong with that behavior because he was part of it. Once he becomes a Christian and he starts getting persecuted, locked up, thrown overseas, bitten by snakes, now he's like, oh no, ooh, this ain't right. Let me start writing letters to all these different churches about how to be right. Right? But when he was living wrong, he didn't see nothing wrong with other people who live wrong. You understand, right? When Moses was in the house of Pharaoh, he had no issue with all these weird sacrifices. He had no issue with their greed. He had no issue with the idolatry. He was in the mix. He's like, oh, this sounds uncomfortable, right? It's not until he kills somebody, flees, right, ends up in a desert with Jethro over here, right, that he starts to see like, oh, wow, I don't think this is the right way to live. I don't think this is the right way to treat people, right? So sometimes, too, what we have to recognize is like when people have done us wrong or people have hurt us, too, we must also pray for them. You know what I mean? Initially, you want to cut them off because the pain is real. I ain't going to lie, the pain is real. And it's a process. But you have to get to a point where you say, you know what? There was once a time where most likely maybe I wasn't as bad, but I was part of that too. And only God knows who I also hurt. So you have to forgive people. Because even the things that they do, I'm not saying their ways are okay, but a lot of people do things out of ignorance. A lot of people do things out of fear. You know, even like exploiting people for ideas, exploiting people for their connection, exploiting people to get on top. It comes from a place of fear. When you're scared to not have enough money, when you're afraid to lose, when you're afraid to not be good enough, when you're afraid that you don't have what it takes, what happens next? You start scheming. You start plotting. Right? It's the spirit of fear. It's the spirit of fear. And that's why everybody has to pray against the spirit of fear, because where there's a spirit of fear, there's also a spirit of lack. Oh, I feel like I lack this. I feel like I lack self-esteem. I feel like I lack the connection. I feel like I lack there's a fear that you don't have something, right? And so the fear of thinking that you don't have something causes you to feel like I now have to go into self-preservation mode. I have to attack other people. I have to do this to other people. I have to become another person so I can finesse my way into some circles with other people, etc., etc. Because there is a spirit of fear. You understand? So after a while, you also have to forgive the people who hurt you and disappointed you. Forgive the people who used you. Because had all of this not happened, you would not have the breakthrough that you have today. You would not have the vision that you have today, right? Like when I look at my stuff, for example, right? I am very grateful, and it sounds crazy to say because it's not fun to go through painful situations, right? It is not fun to go through betrayal. It's not fun to experience people using you and taking advantage of you. But you know what? When it's all said and done, like Joseph said to his brothers, right? Everything the devil meant for harm, God turned it around for my good. You know what I mean? Because you have to experience human nature to start working on yourself, right? You have to experience what humans are capable of for you to truly value and appreciate intimacy with God. You understand? You have to see how vanity and foolishness can make people so dangerous, right? That you understand how it is important to be spiritual in order to not be a person that brings harm to other people. You know what I mean? Mastery of self, your emotions, how you see life, right? Like your fears, your strength, all of that. Like you have to work on self-mastery, your gifts, right? Because you can use your gifts for good and you can use your gifts for bad. It's up to you, right? You can let the pain of a breakup, whether it be from like a friend or something like sexual, whatever, you can let that pain destroy you, or you can let it make you better, right? And that's the power of being a creative person, right? You can use your imagination to transform any painful thing that you've been through into something beautiful. You have to make meaning out of your pain. You cannot let your pain destroy you, derail you, cause you to miss out on years of your life. Like, I wish I had somebody say that to me when I was going through my stuff, right? You have to learn to use your pain to create something beautiful. Not something that destroys you, but something that builds you up, because you have a choice. It is your pain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's your heartbreak. You know what I mean? Do you understand me? Like, it's your pain. It's your heartbreak, right? It's you you're the one who been through that, right? You're the one who been through that. So it's like, you then have, by Lily, you then have to choose, what am I gonna do with this pain? Do I let it drive me crazy? Do I let it like make me bitter? You know what I mean? Do I let it consume me? Do I obsess over it? You know, do I keep grudges? Do I keep, like, you know, curse, like a whole curse book and curse people? Do I wait for God to punish my enemies and smite my enemies? You know, that is that even productive? Right? Or do you understand that, like, you have to go through pain to become somebody greater, right? You have to experience certain things to ascend spiritually, right? And that's the thing. Like, initially, for me, honestly, when I was hearing about like Saturn Aquarius, I was like, this is crazy. But then when I started to see it evolve, like what it was turning into, I said, yo, I don't think this girl is crazy. Because there's a girl here on YouTube. Now she's a little cuckoo now. I don't know. Because I feel like she's making money on YouTube. It's like driving a little cuckoo. But like when she wasn't making that much money on YouTube and she first started out, her name is Star Girl the Practical Witch. Is that it? She used to talk about that kind of stuff. Like, this girl is crazy. But I remember one time she talked about Saturn Aquarius, because I think like the last time it happened, it was like in the 90s or something, and they had the band Nirvana. If you guys remember, you know, Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, and if I'm not mistaken, Kurt Cobain is an Aquarius, you know. But this, like, when you don't know how to manage your pain, right, because you don't know how to let stuff go, and you're constantly living in your pain as an air sign, you know, he deleted himself, right? And so she talked about like the tortured artist. You know, and so when she was describing him, oh my gosh, I saw myself. I really did. I really, really saw myself. Like, oh my gosh, like, am I a tortured artist? Right? And when your mind is not healthy, right? When your mind is not healthy, when you don't have a lot of mastery of self, you know, it seems poetic. It seems brave. It seems alluring, you know, to be a tortured artist. Like, oh, look, I'm a purist. I'm different than other people. I don't care about money. I don't care about this. I just want to be spiritual, live my truth, do my art, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. In a spiritual way, that sounds really cute, right? But you have to deal with the realities of life. And that's the thing. Sometimes being too woke can make you go crazy. Okay, I had to learn that too. Sometimes being too woke, being too spiritual, being too much of a purist can make you hurt yourself. Cause it's too, like, there's a certain level of spirituality also that's just too much for the human brain. Like, it's just too much for the human experience. So when that happens, people become overwhelmed, and in order to turn off their brains, what they do, they delete themselves, right? You don't want that to happen. You know what I mean? You don't want to be known as a tortured artist or as a starving artist, right? You can be paid and be an honest artist. It's okay. But that's something that she's gonna have to figure out though, right? But I know God has his hand on her. I know I really believe that she's going to have an amazing comeback. I believe she's going to have an amazing comeback when she understands how to master herself. I just pray it doesn't last longer than it needs to, because she feels like, I have to, like, this pain, I got to self-punish myself even more so I can have a deeper connection to God. You don't have to do that, because it gets to a point where it's like, now it's the devil that's messing with your mind, right? Mastery of self is not intentionally putting yourself in position of harm. You know, like for me, it's a lot to hear, like, oh, I only have $20 to my name. I'm in San Francisco. I don't know anybody here, right? Like, you know, this like forced isolation, this forced poverty, this forced thing is like, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Because there's a point where it's like, okay, now God is calling you out from the people, but there's another side of it where it's like, okay, like I feel like now the devil's just messing with your mind and making you think that you have to be pretty much homeless in order to be pure. You have to be pretty much destitute in order for you to, you know, be connected to God. No. God is not against money. God is not against wealth. The Bible says, like, it is the love of money that is the problem, right? God is not against you making money to take care of yourself, to feed yourself, right? Being a Christian, being a spiritual person does not mean you should be anti-money. That is irresponsible. That's irresponsible, right? It's irresponsible, especially when you're gifted, right? Because when you have gifts, your job is to be a steward of your gifts, right? And find a way to monetize your gifts, grow your gifts, that you might be of help to as many people as possible. Because your destiny is connected to other people's destiny, right? You could be like sponsoring a whole shelter. You could be responsible for sending all kinds of kids to school and paying for their tuition. So God does not need you to be suffering forever. There comes a time you have to be productive. Like, you have to bear fruits. And that's why we have the parable of the fig tree that was cursed, because it was not bearing any fruits, right? You have to bear fruits. And you cannot bear fruits as long as you keep holding on to the past. You keep holding on to people who hurt you, people who've disappointed you. All of that stuff will just make your soul even more and more infertile. You have to release people. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times people suffer from depression. People suffer from mental illness, right? Mental anxiety and all these mental wounds that afflict the people. I think a lot of time it's related to unforgiveness. Let people go so that you can have your peace of mind. Forgive people. And I'm telling you, like, every day you wake up, ask God to help you forgive people before the transgression even occurs. I'm telling you, like, anticipate that when you wake up tomorrow, somebody's going to step on your foot, right? Anticipate that somebody's going to step on your foot tomorrow. And right now, forgive them. You know what I mean? Anticipate that tomorrow somebody might even steal your dollar, right? Forgive them. Pray for that. Like, you guys, I swear, like, I know people pray for the gift of prophecy, and people pray for all kinds of gifts, the gift of this, revelation, and but I'm telling you, I'm 38 years old now. I'm telling you, pray for the gift of forgiveness. Pray for the gift of forgiveness. Because the quicker you forgive people, the more you'll be sane in your head. The quicker you let go of people who have done you wrong, your sanity will come back. Your health will come back. Your joy will come back. Like, when you actually eat food, you'll actually be able to taste the seasoning in the food, because you let go of people who've hurt you. Let these people go. Like Moses said to Pharaoh, let these people go. Everybody and anybody who's ever done you wrong, let them go. Let them go. It had to happen. You know what I mean? It sucks. It had to be you. But then again, why not you? Right? Why not you? You didn't die from it, right? And you're still young, that you can build something so much better and bigger. So why are you holding on to stuff? Let them go. You know what I mean? Let it go. It's okay. Not that it's okay to do that to people, but it happened. It is what it is. Let it go. Forgiveness. I feel like a lot of people have mental health issues, mental affliction issue, anxiety issues, because there's so much forgiveness that needs to occur. There's a lot of forgiveness that needs to occur. Like, let these people go. The shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let it go. It is what it is. Don't seek revenge out of people. Don't ask God for revenge. Don't pray for revenge. Don't plan on revenge. Don't have like this sweet taste in your mouth when you think about, oh, I can't wait for... That is not your business. That is not your business. Don't pray for revenge. Don't pray for nobody's downfall. Don't pray for, oh, God, I hope I'm there to see. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is you, right? You matter. Your mental health. What happens over there is no longer your concern. Right? What's happening here? Yeah, Stargirl used to be really cool. Now she's like, I don't know what she's on, but you know what I mean? But you gotta let stuff go. and you have so much peace. And so, like, you'll find yourself like, and that's how you know when the devil brings you back a memory of a person, you know, oh, I wish them well. I wish them well. Because now I found my own happiness, right? Because this happened, not so much because of what this person said, because I'm hurting. You know what? When you have an issue with the person, y'all, I mean, it's true. Somebody shoot you, you're gonna hurt, right? If somebody like stabs you, you're gonna hurt. But a lot of times, when it comes to like verbal stuff, right? If you have an issue with a person when it comes to like verbal stuff, sometimes is it really what they said, or is it more about how you chose to react to it that gave power to what they said, right? Because a lot of people say crazy shit, right? But I think it's like based on how you react to it, your reaction towards it, how you hear it, how you internalize it, how you choose to carry that load. I think that's what brings you the most harm, right? Right? Exactly. So when the devil brings you memories of people who've done you wrong, and he's expecting you to say, "Oh, I hate that bitch, fuck her, I can't wait for her to die." You know what I'm saying? But like, you know what? I hope they're doing good. I wish them well. And go about your business. You know what I mean? Oh, I hope they're doing good. I wish them well. And go about your business. Because you're not a child of the devil that you need to have evil feelings about anybody. You're not a witch. You're not a witch. You don't belong to the enemy, right? You don't belong to Satan. You don't partake in demonic activity. So why would you have the mind of somebody who's constantly thinking revenge, pain, eye for eye? This is ridiculous. It's not worth your time, right? And so I feel like a lot of times when people don't know how to let go, don't know how to forgive, and even pray for the people who've hurt them, you gotta learn to pray for people out here, man. Pray for them that they too will find a way, because I'm sure somebody hurt them, and that's why they chose to be like this, right? And learn to pray for people who've done you wrong, and be like, God, you know what? I pray for her, because maybe she was also going through something. That's why she did that to me, right? You know, maybe this girl, was it nice for her to be your friend just because she wanted to be on YouTube and wanted to get more followers? No, it's not okay to use people for your greed. But maybe she also didn't have a family that could provide for her financially, so she felt like she had to do that. Leave her with God. I'm glad I could help. And maybe you needed this more than I did, right? Because God's going to take care of me. You understand? Have peace in your heart. Be at peace with yourself. Be at peace with the world the way that it is. And then be at peace with people. Even people who've done you wrong. Be at peace with them. You understand? And I'm like, the more you start learning to be at peace with the world and people and the way people are and what they've done to you, and understand, like, if it happened, God knows why. If it happened to you, God knows why. If you're not dead because of it, trust God. Everything's going to be okay, right? If you're still alive to learn from it, there's something bigger and better. Don't let your pain be your cemetery. Don't let your pain be a coffin. Use your pain as a platform to go bigger and better. You know, pain, it's like a fork in the road, right? Your pain, your disappointment from people, right? It can make you a better person, or it can make you a bitter person. You have to choose. Choose to be better, not bitter. That's some low vibrational shit. Never let anybody make you bitter. What you lost yesterday, you can make 5 times more a week from now, 5 years from now, right? You can reinvent yourself as many times as you wish, right? You can do so much more than what you did yesterday. And maybe you had to experience fake friends so that when your real lifetime friends come along, you will be able to appreciate them too, right? Sometimes you got to go through the fakes, the knockoffs, the bootlegs, in order for you to appreciate the real, right? The authentic stuff, the real stuff. Like maybe that's what has to happen, right? But pain is part of life. It's part of this journey. Don't let it control you. You know, if I talked to Alyssa, I would say the same thing to her. Don't let your pain control you. Don't let your pain decide how successful you'll be or how successful you won't be, right? Don't let your pain decide how much money you'll make and how much money you won't make. Don't let your pain make a beggar out of you when you're so creative. You're very creative, right? You got to control your mind. Like, you have to control your mind. You got to have discipline of the mind. And it's not easy, especially if you've never practiced it before, right? Yeah. You got to choose to be better. Like, you have to choose to be better. And it's not easy. That's why it's a choice, right? Choices are like, when you make a choice, it's something intentional that you do, right? You know what I'm saying? We're not better by nature, right? We're better because we choose every single day to be better, when we could indeed choose to be evil or return, I'm gonna get my lick back, right? But we see it out here. Like, look at, like, for example, inner city, where our young black men get involved in gang activity, right? Because nobody wants to let go. You kill my brother, I'm gonna spin the block, kill your mom. Then somebody else gets mad over there, they spin the block, kill my sister. And it never stops. And before you know it, the entire neighborhood is locked up. Because nobody wanted to let go of the pain. You know what I mean? And it becomes a vicious cycle of violence. And that's what the devil wants. Because when you're bitter, when you're angry, when you're bitter, when you're confused, when you're hot-ass mess spiritually, you're easier to control. It's easy to control an angry person. You know what I mean? That's why you look at the media. They always want us to be angry. They always want us to be upset. Because when people are upset, when people are enraged, when people are blinded by their pain, they're so easy to control. And then you can make them do anything. Despicable things. Right? It's not after the fact. They're like, yo, I went too far. But in the moment, they don't see that they're going too far because they're consumed by their pain. You can be in so much pain that you can walk away from a career that you love because your pain, you cannot control it. Right? And I think that's what's happened with Alyssa. You know what I mean? From the ex-boyfriend, I guess she said he took advantage of her and the stuff he did to her. She didn't let that stuff go. So the man is not in the house, like physically he's gone, but he lives in her head. And it messes her up. And she doesn't have the spiritual discipline to take him out of her head and be free from this guy, right? So that hurts, right? And then you got the trauma with the girls you thought were your friends and you break up with them. Because I'm like, I can only imagine, like, because I've had like best friends like that I was really close to. And when you quote unquote break up with the best friend, like, it could be hard too, because when you're a girl, if you are a woman and you have you have a best friend that's a woman and you're always talking to her, you guys talk for hours, you talk for days, like, after a while, it feels like that's your soulmate in a way, like, not on some lesbian stuff, but it feels like, is that like my twin flame? Is that how you call it? Like a twin flame, right? I think that's the name for it. Like, it's a twin flame, right? So when all of it, like, somebody that you talk to almost every day for like 4 years, 5 years, and now you stop talking to that person, it's really hard because you're used to that person being in your life. Like, you're used to, oh, let me call so and so, like, or like you think about them, they start calling you, like, it's something that like there's a connection, there's a spiritual connection that was built there, right? And so when you think about somebody like Alyssa and how she was bestie with Dana, right? Dana, is that how you say her name? The girl from the UK, right? So for her to say that, oh, she's not friends with nobody, she cut off everybody, which means Dana included, right? It's like, that has to be crazy because that was her best friend. You fly to London, she flies to LA, y'all take a couple pictures together, you're always together, you talk together, you do live, she's on the phone, you know what I mean? So I'm like, so you got the breakup of the man that's gone. He's technically gone out the house, but he's still in your head, right? You have the breakup of, you break up with your best friend, right? Like, that's a lot too, because I can only imagine, I've been there, right? So that hurts. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, I don't know if Dana's a bad person or a good person, I don't know, but it's like Dana too, she had her own stuff to figure out too, because allegedly, from what she's saying, I mean, I kind of saw that like back in the day with her videos though, but like, she also has a husband that has a whole lot of drama. So how does that affect her? right? How is she dealing with that? And does that while she's dealing with the infidelity, the marriage, all the effery over there, right, too, because she's going through it too, right? She's going through it too, right? So maybe she's not as available. Maybe she becomes more selfish, like it's a lot. And I will say, I think like sometimes what girls don't do very well, girls don't communicate very well, right? Girls don't know how to have a conversation and say, I love you, friend, but when you did X, Y, and Z, that shit really hurt me, right? Because even as black girls, we're trained to be strong black women. So it's like, well, fuck you too then, bitch. Well, fuck you too, bitch. Well, fuck you right back, bitch. You know what I mean? That's our love language. There's a whole bunch of fuck yous. Like, oh, fuck you too. Well, fuck you right back, ho. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. I'll cut you off. You cut me off. Fuck that shit, right? But the problem is, when you've invested in a relationship with the person for so long, yeah, you say fuck you, she said fuck you too. You blocked her number, she blocked your number. But you still feel like, because you haven't closed the relationship like mature adults, right? Not saying they have, I don't know, I'm just guessing, right? There's a part of you that's still lingering for a proper closure of the friendship, right? So when that hasn't happened, you're fucked up in your head. She's fucked up in your head. You're thinking how selfish she is. She's thinking about how selfish you are. But the problem is, you're both hurting, but you're hurting in your own ways. We don't know how to communicate as black people. I keep telling y'all this shit, right? So there's that too. And that's why I say, like I was listening to George Lucas, because he was talking about like religion, because how all these religions kind of have like this, they kind of like share like the same stories a little bit. He's like, but how is that? Like, that's so crazy. And so he was saying like pretty much like religion, faith, spirituality is like an elephant, right? And he says everybody, like depending on where you're from, your culture, your ethnicity, your nationality, he was like everybody just sees a different part of the elephant, right? If you're from Asia, you probably see the tail, right? If you're from Africa, you probably see the left leg. If you're from Europe, you see the right leg. If you're from Australia, maybe you see the butt of the elephant. Like everybody sees a different part of the elephant. I was like, you know what? I kind of agree. Oh, she looks like Tamar in real life. She really does. But like when Tamar was young, like pretty Tamar, not plastic surgery Tamar. Everybody sees a different part of the elephant. And I'm like, and that's the thing with relationships sometimes, right? When you're hurting, you only see your hurt. Because you're hurting. When you hurt, you're selfish. When she's hurting over there, she only sees her hurt. And when we don't know how to properly communicate, like, well, fuck you, you're selfish. Well, fuck you, you're selfish too. Because everybody has their own perspective on the problem. And that's why, and that's another reason why too, sometimes you have to forgive also. Because in your own pain, you still have blind spots, right? Like no matter how right you think you are, in your own pain, you still have blind spots when it comes to the other person. Because there's a side you see that makes you say, nah, this motherfucker ain't shit. This bitch ain't shit. She's a trifling asshole. Maybe she is, right? But that's the perspective you have while you're in your pain. But you're not in her shoes. Right? It's a perspective. But it's not you actually in the person's shoes, right? And then they look at you from where they're standing and they have their perspective of you, right? So that's why, like, a lot of times that's why you have to also make room for forgiveness, because even though you see it a certain way, you still have to remind yourself, although I see it this way, I feel it this way, I receive it this way, your feelings, they're your feelings, but you have to remember that you're still not completely in that person's shoes. Because if you were in their shoes, maybe you're like, you know what? Damn, I'm actually doing better than you. I'm just saying. You can argue with somebody. You can really hate somebody. You can despise a person based on your perspective, where you're standing and how you see it, right? But if you were in her shoes, you'd be like, you know what? For as much as I hate you, girl, I'm doing so much better than you. But it could be spiritually, it could be in terms of your marriage, it could be in terms of your children. We don't. There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot we don't know, right? But ultimately, you can't let the pain of life. You can't let the pain of broken friendships, broken relationship, the lack of money, a business not doing as well as it used. You just can't let pain, period, right, control the narrative of your life. You got to take charge of it. And that's why I recommend fitness to a lot of people. I think exercising is a great way. Like getting into fitness is a great way to learn how to control your mind and how to control your emotion and how to control yourself, right? Having discipline with your thoughts, having discipline with your body, having discipline with your stuff. Like it is a great way for you to actually protect yourself mentally, right? Have discipline, like discipline of your thoughts, discipline of your pain. Like even when you're hurting too, because I wish I would have known that sooner. When you're hurting, or even on days where you feel depressed, or yeah, she has childhood trauma too, right? She has a lot of trauma, and she never learned the mastery of the mind. So if something triggers her, it feels like it triggers everything back, and then she feels overwhelmed. And then she feels overwhelmed. And I feel like the devil knows her triggers, right? Because she hasn't controlled her mind yet. And as crazy as it is, because I was watching Star Wars. I've been watching Star Wars for like the past 2 days, right? If you, I don't know if you guys ever watched Star Wars with Darth Vader, but that's how he got God. Because Darth Vader, he's not bad initially. He's not bad. He doesn't mean to become evil, right? But he cannot control his anger. Can't control his emotion. Because when he met Yoda, Yoda's like, you have a lot of fear in you. And people who are full of fear can also be full of anger. You know what I'm saying? So then he lets himself be seduced by this man who says, yeah, kill these people, man. Fuck these people. Yeah, you deserve revenge. Like, he allows this guy to get into his head because he knows the man is strong, but he doesn't have mastery of his mind. He doesn't control his thoughts. He gives into his fears. He gives into his sadness. He gives into his rage, right? So I was like, oh, shit. You know, because I'm like, that stuff is real, right? And I'm like, that's a lesson for all of us. When you give into your feelings, you give into your emotions, you give into your, your brashness, like, you give into depression, the devil's going to have a field day with you because he knows you don't have a strong head. You don't have a strong head. Right? And even me, I had to learn to have a strong head too, because trust and believe he had a field day with my ass too, right? But once you learn to control your thoughts, once you learn to have peace with your thoughts, once you learn to forgive, once you learn to like not let one door or one thing trigger all kinds of doors to be open on your ass too, right? Like it becomes a lot easier. But I think when it comes to her, like she doesn't have a lot of mastery of her mind. So when something triggers her, makes her really sad, it's like it just opens all these doors, and all of a sudden she has to deal with all these issues at once. And honestly, like her brains are shut down because she is overwhelmed. She's overwhelmed. You know what I mean? She's overwhelmed. And I'm like, I've been there. You are so overwhelmed. And that's the thing with depression too. Like depression, if you're not careful, it's like sinking sand. One negative thought leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to another. And before you know it, you're overwhelmed. It feels like you're sinking. Like your nights are dark, your days are dark, everything is just dark. You can't see any kind of hope. There's no glimmer of hope. Everything is just dark and dark. And after a while, when you live in that depressed state for so long, you actually start to not feel right unless you're sad. Like you want to be sad because you feel like, oh, like that's my new identity. Like I'm the depressed person. I'm the person who needs depression to have meaning. I need I need to feel depressed. It's like, no, that is unhealthy, and that's real spiritual warfare. Like your mind is under attack. Your mind is under attack. Do not accept depression at all. You have to rebuke it. You know what I mean? Do not accept sadness. Like you can be sad for a little bit, but make it your business. Like I'm only gonna be sad for a day, right? If you're gonna be depressed, put a timeline on it. I'm only gonna be depressed for a day. Then after that, I have to go outside. I have to do something. I need to get out the house, because if you're not, one day becomes a whole week. A week becomes 2 weeks. Then 2 weeks turn to 6 months. 6 months turn to a whole year, and then boom, your year is just gone. Being sad all the damn time while other people are doing other things. No. You know what I'm saying? No. There's a greater force in you. You have the power to overcome. You have the willpower to overcome, right? You have the willpower to overcome. And that's why you have to learn to train your mind. You got to train yourself to think of good things. You know what I'm saying? You have to train yourself to think of good things. You have to train yourself to forgive. You got to train yourself to be positive. You have to train yourself to speak life over yourself. There's a passage in the Bible that says that David went out there because the man was trying to kill him. You know, and the Bible, the passage says that David encouraged himself, right? You have to learn to encourage yourself. You have to learn to believe that God did not give you a spirit of fear, cowardice, confusion. But what he gave you, a sound mind. Like, God wants you to have a sound mind. You understand? And that's why I said to you guys too, like, you have to learn to journal. Because when you write, the more you keep writing, you will notice that journaling, writing your thoughts, and especially if you write positive thoughts, they will eventually become natural to you. As a man thinks, so shall he become, right? You have to force yourself to have positive thoughts. If they don't come easy to you, you must journal. Don't always journal about sadness, but journal about who you want to be. Like I'm telling you, living in the past is treacherous. Like, listen to me. Living in the past, it is so treacherous. That's why the angels, they said to Lot's wife, you look back, you'll be turned into salt. She didn't listen. She turned her head, and guess what? Bada bing, bam, bam. She became a big old pile of salt. It is treacherous to live in the past. You have to learn to move on. Not as a coward, not as a punk, not as somebody who just gets beat up by life, not as somebody who's confused and has lost their mind. You have to learn to move on victorious. Even if you have nothing, say, I have something. You understand? You have your mind, you have your creativity, you have God with you. You can make something out of nothing. You can build something with just your creativity. And I think a lot of times we really do underestimate like the power of creativity. Everything that surrounds us at one point was in somebody's head. Everything that surrounds us at one point was a thought in somebody's head. And now it's part of our life. It's part of our everyday life, right? Your creativity can change your life. Everybody is creative, different ways, right? You have to figure that out for you. But you need a clear mind to access your creativity and to use it for something positive. You know, one thing I've learned about the law of attraction, especially when you're in Aquarius, right? We can attract positive things and we can also attract negative things. And the devil wants us, because the devil understands attraction. He understands the pull. There's a magnetic force that comes with your thoughts. Your thoughts are like a magnet. They are powerful magnets, y'all. And if you're not careful, one day the things you think about will show up at your house, right? You think about bad stuff all the time, one day it's going to happen. You think about good things, one day they will happen. You'll be surprised that the things I have written in my journal that today are real, like they're actually happening for me, right? You know what I mean? She said her mom was homeless too. So you see there's a spirit there, right? But she's going to be okay. God watches over her. You understand? But my thing is like, you have to understand, like, my creativity with my head, with God, with the head God has given me. I can build an empire if I choose to. But if you're clouded by sadness, depression, you're always looking in the back, crying about people, shoulda, coulda, woulda, looking in the back, gonna fuck your shit up. You have to learn to look ahead, soldier. You have to look ahead. Don't worry. Like, sometimes you over here, you're surrounded by a bunch of dead bodies. And you want to be sensitive. I was watching this lady, you guys, because I'm like thinking of climbing a mountain. I was watching this lady. She climbed Mount Everest. So she was recording it. All of a sudden, you guys, they're climbing. It's a body, y'all. A human body, like a person. Somebody died. She was so startled. I was like, what is this? Come to find out, there are people who die on those mountains. And nobody picks them up because the air is so thin. They say, like, you trying to save somebody else, you could also die. Because it's not enough oxygen for the work required to save another person. So they just leave you up there. I was like, what? It sounds cruel. It sounds like hell crazy. But it's like low-key, high-key. That's survival 101, right? Your thoughts are like a bunch of dead bodies. And sometimes you want to nurture them. You want to nurture your feelings. You want to nurture your memories of people hurting you. You better let the people die. Leave them things on the mountain, okay? They're like dead bodies. They're already dead. What has happened has happened. If you've been betrayed, it happened. Disappointed, it happened. Brokenhearted, it already happened, boo-boo. You can't nurture dead shit. It's dead. It already happened. You have to look forward. You have to press on. And that's part of being a survivor. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's part of being a survivor. You got to look out for yourself, right? You can't try to nurture and groom and pet every single emotion that you feel. Because it's not every emotion that you have to validate also, you guys. I'm being serious. Sometimes even part of your mental health involves letting go of shit for your own mental health. Because a lot of times, if you try to nurture every emotion, bad emotion, childhood trauma, you will never make it. You will never make it. You will never make it. You have to learn to make peace with what has happened. And find courage in what could be, right? If you decide to press forward with your faith, right? Press forward with your courage. Be courageous. Be courageous. And it takes a lot of courage to not cry sometimes when you see the fuck shit that you've been through. Trust me, right? It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to walk away from things that you feel you deserve, things that you feel you were owed, like many, many things. It takes a lot of courage. But I'm telling you this, though, because I've seen it with my own eyes. There is greater things that await you. You know, we've been, like, some of us, we've been here for years. Y'all followed me for years, right? Have I ever lied to you? No. You know what I mean? When I tell you stuff, it is the truth. I am telling you, no matter how bad you want to cry for the things you feel like you could have had, you should have had, this, yes, I hear you. But I want you to hear me too, though. I am telling you, there is something way better ahead. I don't know how far away it is, but I know this for a fact because I've seen it with my own eyes. There is something so much better ahead. You have to press forward. To press forward. And sometimes you have to learn, not trying to be funny, but sometimes you have to learn to kill your older self. That child, that little baby, that child that with the trauma that's in you, the whatever, the young woman that's still mad and angry, like there's a certain part of yourself you might have to kill and bury that bitch and do a whole funeral and say, I will never be this woman again. So help me God. And you move on. You have to let, like, there's some part of you that you have to bury and let that shit go. Like, do a whole funeral service. Let it go. Because it won't serve you. Especially not in this world. This selfish ass, greedy ass, wicked ass world. It won't serve you. Sensitive people don't make it out here, y'all. Sensitive people, emotional ass people, they don't make it. This place is ruthless as fuck. So if you cry, you're going to cry a whole lot. If you sensitive, they're going to trample your ass. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. Matter of fact, nobody cares, to be honest with you, but you. So it's like there's a part of you that you're going to have to say bye to for you to make it. You know what I mean? You're going to have to say goodbye to that because she's not going to serve you. That overly sensitive, overly emotional, oh, I gotta be perfect. It's not going to serve you. Out here in this place they call Earth, it's not going to serve you. It's going to do you a huge disservice. It's going to do you a big disservice. Right? Because you look at this world, who out here is praised for being emotional, overly emotional? Nobody. Nobody. Right? Nobody. And it shows you, like, people even, like, and even when you're a YouTuber, when you're an influencer, right? When you no longer serve the need of the people, they don't care. Because they want you to show them cars and bags and trips and stuff like that. Once you start being spiritual, going on a spiritual journey, they're gone. They don't care. So you have to learn to balance the two, because that's how you make your living. You know, this world is not like this world is not a place for idealism. It's a place for realism. Like, you gotta be real. You gotta be very real. You gotta be pragmatic, and like, you gotta think about what works. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad to say, but maybe sometime you play the game. People use you, maybe use them back. I don't know, but that's what I think on it, right? But I pray for her, though. I really pray for her. I pray for her mental health. You know, may God watch over her. May her angels talk to her, minister to her, and give her the courage she needs to press on, because Alyssa is she's just too creative. She's just too creative to be struggling. You know what I mean? She's just way too creative. And the thing with her, too, she has a big platform. Like, on YouTube, she has like 1.5 million people on YouTube. So she put all her content on private. Maybe she wants to rebrand. You know, once again, that spirit of perfectionism. Everything has to be perfect. I have to rebrand. I've been there too. They were telling her to get on TikTok. And she's like, oh, I don't know. Overthinking stuff. Air sign. Overthinkers. Think too much. We think too much. Sometimes, just do. I used to be an overthinker myself. It's like that overthinking stuff. I'm like, there's a place to think and plan and stuff. But sometimes, like, when you overthink too much, you plan too much, you just, it prevents you from actually getting started. Because the more you think about stuff too, and the more you think about stuff, and the more you think about stuff, you're always gonna find something wrong. You know, okay, let me work on that. It's like, let me work on this, let me work on that, right? It's like there's always like the more you obsess on things, trying to be perfect, trying to be this, it's like you're human. Don't try to be perfect. Just be consistent. I had to learn that shit too, right? You can be great. You can have great ideas, but if great ideas take you a year or 2-3 years to come out with, how you gonna make it, right? It's better to be consistent. Yeah. And if you're an air sign, you'll see like air sign people, they struggle even more with overthinking, because it's part of our nature. I'm telling you, I had to learn. I had to learn what it meant to be an Aquarius. And by learning it, I started seeing a whole lot of red flags. Like, oh, bro, you got to work on that. You got to fix it. You got to fix that, right? Because I didn't know who I didn't know who I was. But I'm like, this stuff is real. It is very real. Right? And like, now that I know a bit more about it, I make better decisions, right? Because I'm like, here you go again, trying to overthink. But it's better to be consistent than to be a perfectionist, right? If you go to work once every 6 months, I don't know if you're gonna have a job, right? You go to work 5 days a week, you gonna keep a job, right? You do something. If you do something, you know what I mean? I don't think Virgo overthinks like that as much as air signs do. Like, we're on a whole nother level, Val. Like, we're on a whole different level. We're on a whole different level. But I can see that in Virgo, though. Like, when I think about, like, bees, for example. See, like the honeybee. See how, like, because they're like super planners, because they're like super pollinators, right? But I'm telling you, air sign, we are on some other overthinking stuff. But ultimately, if you are overthinker, a perfectionist, low key, high key, it has to do with ego, right? Got to work on that, myself included. It has to do with ego. There is an ego with that, right? There's an ego with that. There's some pride with that too, right? Not wanting to be judged, or not wanting to be told that you're not good enough, so you feel like, no, I'm gonna make sure they don't have to, they can't say nothing. To some extent, yeah, but after a while, I was like, you know what, just put the stuff out, right? Because sometimes you got to start where you are in order to eventually have the vision. Like me, I would be the type to say, if I can't have my entire vision, I'm not doing it. That's like, and it used to be worse. Like, I used to be way more immature, okay? But it was really like, if I can't have the bam bam shim bam 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 with the bells and the whistles and stuff like that, I don't even want it. Right? But it's like, you got to remember how the Bible says, like, do not despise humble beginnings, right? Just because something starts small or is not perfect, it doesn't mean that it can't grow to be even bigger and better than the huge vision that you had, right? So you got to start. You know what I mean? You gotta start. Like, you look at Mr. Beast, for example. Like, before Jimmy had these videos that have like 100 million views and 300 million views and 60,000 million views, whatever, right? Like, he was making ratchet videos, right? He was sitting here counting to 100,000. He was sitting here saying PewDiePie a million times. I mean, some corny, ratchet videos. Like, what is this, right? But he had to go through his ratchet, low budget, basic, stupid, goofy phase on YouTube, right? In order to, child, we all consider ourselves humble, but I don't think Virgo is a humble sign, though. I don't think so. I don't think most earth signs are humble people. You know, but he had to go through like that ratchet phase. He had to be vulnerable enough to put content that was not good, that was crappy, that was horrible. Like, you know, he had to go through his ratchet ass phase for him to become the king of YouTube. Right? Because if you don't practice, how do you become the king? Like, even Michael Jordan, he was not the best basketball player. I'm trying to be funny, but he wasn't, right? Like, he had to go through his ratchet phase. You know what I mean? He had to go through his ratchet ass phase. He had to lose to the Detroit Piston, Dennis Rodman, and Isaiah Thomas whooping his ass. Because these Piston people, the Detroit people, they played really rough. They whooped his ass. Whoop, there it is. Like, it's really bad, right? They had to whoop his black ass for him to become great. But then he became, you know what I mean? The man that could fly. But before he was crawling, get his ass whooped on the court, right? So it's like, part of greatness is like, to become great, you have to be humble enough to be embarrassed, to get your ass whooped, you know what I mean? To be criticized, to go through some shit. Like Joe Budden just did a podcast with Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson said, I made money, I lost money. He said, I probably lost money more than anybody that you know. But I made it back though. Now look, you see, there's a part of being shameless that comes with being successful. You know what I mean? Think of like Donald Trump. When people don't like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, like the bankruptcies and the, you know, he's very shameless. And I think that's why he's successful. Because he's shameless. Like, yeah, I've been through it, and I think he denies his bankruptcies though, but you know what I'm saying? But people who are too attached to their ego, oh, I don't want to be embarrassed, I don't want to tell my business, I don't want to be criticized, I have to be perfect and overthinker, right? They don't make it. Because they don't want to get it out in the mud. Like, they're, oh, no. And I said, like, it has to do with ego. And the thing people don't realize is, like, ego, it manifests itself differently. Right? It manifests itself differently. And you see it. It's real. Like, it's like a snake. Like, it's very, like, it's very sneaky. Right? But a lot of times, like, why am I acting this way? It's your ego. You think you're too good to be criticized. You think you're too good to go through what everybody went through. You just want to like jump the stuff. Oh, look at me, I'm famous. But life, it doesn't work like that, right? You have to be willing to start from the bottom and then get to the top. It's not just going to be given to you. And even me, I have to check my own ego. Like, I don't have that much ego, but I do. I really do. You know what I mean? I really do. Like, a lot of times you'll say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to release this book because if I'm not going to sell 1,000 pieces, I ain't fucking doing it. But to sell 1,000 pieces, you got to sell 10 pieces first. But, like, no, that's the part, because, like, 10 pieces, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of us think, right? Why would I start TikTok and only have 50 people? Because you've seen people with 100,000. You've seen people with 2 million. You've seen people with 4 million. So now you think you're too good for 50 followers. But for you to get to 1 million followers, you got to start with 50. You have to start somewhere. Right? And me, for example, I know my ego did me a whole lot of harm. I can tell you that for real. You know what I'm saying? It's the ego. Like when she says, like, oh, I don't know how to do TikTok, da-da-da-da. But it's like, Alyssa, you're full of shit. Okay? I know she's going through it, but I'm going to pull her leg a little bit. In love. I'm like, Alyssa, you're full of shit. When you started YouTube, Alyssa, did you know how to do YouTube? You figured that shit out. You understand? You figured that shit out to the point that you became one of the top black girls in beauty and hair on YouTube. It wasn't given to you. Right? You figured that shit out. When you started doing all the stuff with the shoes and the jerseys and all that deconstructing off-white stuff you were doing, did you know how to do it? No. You figured that shit out because you're creative, right? You just don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to have to start over. That's the thing. And that's ego, right? And she's going to have to learn that too, because I had to learn it too, right? And I want to do TikTok. It's hard. It's hard. Let Marie shut up. I've made liquid lipsticks. You know what I mean? Nick, as you sat here, Nick, did you even listen to the live, Nick? Or you just jumping onto stuff, Nick? You just came right now? Probably just got here, right? I was saying something, right? What was I saying again, right? But like a lot of times, like, it's your ego. And she's going to have to figure that out. Because if you did it once, you can do it again. And again. And again. And again. No matter what format. Oh, you've been here. I don't think you've been here. I don't think so. If you've did it once, you can do it again and again and again. No matter what the format is. No matter how it goes. No matter how it's thrown at you. Why? Because you are the source. You know what I'm saying? And I used to have the same issue. Like, oh, I don't want to start over. Because I thought I was just too, like, I don't know. I just thought of myself a little too much to think that I could start over. You understand? And so I was like, nope. If that's the case, I'm not doing it at all. But you can't have that mindset. Right? And one thing I've recognized for myself too is like when you stop living in your creative energy, when you stop creating stuff, even you die from it. Because when you're meant to create stuff, you have to create and you have to put it out there. And part of like always trying to be a perfectionist or part of like, oh, I gotta be perfect. Everything has to be on point. It has to be this, and this, and that. What that does too is it's a reason to keep your art to yourself. It's another ruse to keep your creativity to yourself. And when you keep that, because you know when you have things to share with the world, when you have things to put out there, it's not for you. Right? If God puts it on your heart to create poetry, to do music, to write a book or whatever, it's not for you. It is not for you. It's for the people. Like there are people that you're meant to help with that stuff. So when you keep it in because of perfectionism, because of, I don't know about this, like I did with TikTok, I used to dread TikTok, right? What you don't recognize is when you deny people what you're assigned to give them, you too will suffer on the inside. And like, I remember like the day I had that revelation, I was like, man, like that really hurt me. But it's not to say, no, he wasn't here. He was not here, child. Because I know he wasn't here. That's why I'm even bothered. When you recognize that, because when you're hurt, like when you get hurt, especially as a creative, right? When you get hurt, you say, oh, that's it. I'm taking my art. I'm taking my words. I'm taking everything I have. I'm not giving to y'all because I loved y'all. I gave y'all this. I gave y'all that. And it's like y'all just taking from me. You're just taking from me. You're just taking from me, right? So what do? You block all your videos. You delete your videos because somebody asked her like, oh, Alyssa, what happened to your videos, right? Did you put them on private? I was like, what the heck? So I go to her page. She put all the videos on private. She didn't delete them. Put them on private because she still has, like, when you go on her about page, it still says 94 million views. So she didn't delete them. She just put them on private, right? But I was like, damn, that sounds like me too, right? You do a live, you put it on private. Do a live, you put it on private. Now, nowadays, I put my lives on private because the stuff we talk about, I don't want to have no issue with nobody here. But you know what I mean? But like, you're upset. So what you do as an artist, you're like, well, since I'm hurt, I'm taking all my creativity. I'm taking everything with me. F y'all. You know what I mean? But then you learn that your art is not for you. It's for people. You are like, when you're born to create, when you're born to be a creative, it is a mandate over your life. Like you have to create. If you don't, you will suffocate. Like even your own quality of life becomes horrible. You're like, why is my life so horrible? Because you stop creating. But then you want to say like, oh, but no, F this. It's my art. They don't deserve my art. Look how they treat me, God. Why would I give them things that, like, let's say you're somebody who makes music, right? If people abused you, like if you feel like the world is not fair to you, you want to take your music away. Like, why would I give you music to make you dance when you people treat me like crap? So you want to hold on to your music, right? If you are a preacher and you have a church and the people at the church haven't been nice to you, right? You know, man, F this. Why would I stay up all night and work on my sermon and pray and do all this preaching stuff to make y'all feel good, you know, and pray for y'all and do all these things for y'all? But then as soon as y'all reap the benefits of my prayer, you guys talk about it behind my back. You have lipstick alley pages open behind me. Like, what is this? No, go somewhere. I don't want to preach no more. You know what I'm saying? If you're somebody who makes like pretty stuff, like I know I went through it. I was like, man, the fuck? Why would I keep making all my pretty lipsticks just so I can put them on sale? But y'all gonna go out there and give Anastasia Beverly Hills and her horrible ass liquid lipsticks. You'll give her a whole $18. But you wanna get my beautiful stuff for $5. Well, what? Hell no, I ain't making them no more. I'm not playing with you, right? And it's like the more, like as I'm telling y'all this story, it reminds me of the story of Jonah, right? Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh. He said, hell no, I'm not going. Why would I go? Because he said, you want me to go tell these people that you're upset and that they're sinning and, you know, you're going to punish them, whatever. He said, but he's like, I know you, God. And as soon as I give them the message of what you said, you're going to change your mind, make peace with them, and then they're going to start to want to hate me. So he didn't want to go. And you saw how he started, you saw how he tried to run away. He went on a boat. He brought bad luck. They're like, what is going on? He's like, oh, it's me. Just throw me overboard. They threw his ass overboard, right? Then the whale swallowed him. You know what I'm saying? And come to find out, a couple was swallowed by a whale like 2 weeks ago, like a week or so ago. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the story of Jonah. But you see how Jonah is a creative. Like, he is somebody he has these prophecies. Like, God talks to him. He's a messenger of God. But he's like, I don't like these people. Why would I give them a message that can spare their lives? So he said, nope, I'm going to keep it to myself. Right? And by keeping that message to himself and not trying to help other people because he doesn't like them, he puts himself in a heap of trouble. Bad things just keep happening to him. And he's like, no, I don't care. Take everything. Kill me if you want to. I'm just not going. I mean, eventually he goes to Nineveh, though. And he was right, though. God did exactly what he thought he would do. Right? But it's like, even me, like, I had to learn that. Like, you cannot keep, when you have a gift, the gifts are not for you. You know what I mean? Like, your gifts are not for you. Your gifts are for other people. Whether it's to, like, you know, whether it's to heal, whether it's to suit them, whether it's to encourage them, whether it's to empower them, like, whatever it is, whatever your gifts are. I don't know. Everybody's gifted, right? You have to share your gifts. And when you don't, even you yourself, your quality of life goes down. Your mental health goes down. Because you have this gift and you're holding it hostage. And when you hold your gift hostage, your quality of life really goes down. But it's a process though. Like, you really have to learn that. Because when you're hurt, you want to take everything that belongs to you and you don't want to share anything with the world because you're hurt as fuck. You feel betrayed as hell. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. That's why I say when you are an air sign and you've experienced heartbreak, you truly have to learn to heal expeditiously. Like, you have to learn to let it go and let them go. And you have to learn to choose yourself and choose a healthier version of yourself. Otherwise, I'm telling you, like me, I look back to that, I was like, man, if I had known, I don't think my depression would have lasted as long as it did. If I would have lasted like a year and a half or so, I would have moved on so much quicker. You know, like one time I saw this girl, because she started her Instagram with like the whole fitness thing. She started her stuff in like 2017. I remember I had started like my first weight loss journey, like after having Stefan, I had started like 2018. I wasn't consistent. But I'm like, the weight this girl had, I mean, of course she's white, so she's probably like bigger because she is white. But I was like, still though. Well, even there's another girl too, Chanel. Chanel's black. She's really pretty. She started posting in 2016. And I was like, damn. When I was at home, depressed, crying, these girls were at the gym, right? They were at the gym. And I'm like, imagine if I had that quickness of my spirit to just like, yeah, it's fucked up. It happened. Give yourself 6 months. After that, you gotta come up with a plan. I think maybe that's what her dad was trying to tell her, but he didn't say it in a way that like resonated with her Gemini self, right? So, you know, she didn't receive it that way. But it's true though, you know, even when you're in pain, even when you are depressed, even when you feel completely exhausted about life, like I'm telling you, right? I get it. I've been there. You're just mentally like you're drained. Like you just want to just like you just want to be alone. Like you just want to be alone so badly and just like recompose yourself. But still, you have to put a timeline on it, right? If it's 6 months, okay, I'm taking 6 months off so I can like regroup myself. If it's a year, say it's a year, right? And after that, you got to have a plan to do something. Because if you don't, 6 months can turn to a year of depression. 1 year of depression can turn into 2 years of depression, then 3, then 4, then 5. And then once you finally overcome your depression, you'll look back at all the years that were consumed by your depression and be like, why did I allow 4 years of my life to be consumed by depression? And then you'll start being mad at yourself because it shouldn't have lasted that long. I know, like, that's how I feel. That's how I felt. That's how I feel, right? But I'm like, I should have given myself, like, a timeline. Like, oh, you know, hindsight is 2020. But if you guys are going through it, I'm telling you, like, if you're going through depression or if you're feeling sad right now, you have to put a timeline on it, right? Either it's 6 months, it's 9 months, it's a, you see, 13 years. I'm telling you, like, time goes by like this. Time flies. Like, it literally flies, right? And you'll be like, oh my gosh. So when you're when you're depressed, you don't care about nothing because you're depressed. You're all like, it's a real thing. But then when you come out of depression, you'll look back and be sad because, oh my gosh, so many years were wasted. And then that starts another depression. So you had your first set of depression for whatever issues you were going through. But then once you overcome that, now you're thinking about how all the years you wasted, what shoulda, coulda, woulda, what you could have done, right? And then that also makes you sad because I've been through it too, right? I've been through like both type of depression. When you're in it, you're depressed. Oh my gosh, you know. And then when you overcome it, you say, why did I let 3 years of my life just go in depression? Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? And so I have learned you have to force yourself to put a timeline on it. If you want to cry for 6 months, cool. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to cry. It is what it is. But once the 6 months are over, right? Once the 6 months are over, you got to start having a plan. How am I going to overcome this? Because we can't cry forever, right? You still have your whole life ahead of you. And you cannot let this unfortunate situation, you know, completely decimate you financially, emotionally, socially. You can't let that happen. Especially if you need social media for your job, because social media moves so fast. You know what I mean? By the time you come out of this depression, it might be 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 different apps that are out, and the people have completely moved on because they haven't seen you in so long. Right? Time really waits for no one. It's cruel, but it's real. It's real, right? So you got to have a plan, right? If it's 6 months, give it 6 months. If it's, you need a whole year, you need a year. But once the contract expires, you have to have a progression plan. You know what I'm saying? You cannot allow yourself to be consumed by your sadness, your depression. You cannot. Because there's still a real world that you are part of that you have to be involved in. Because people out here are very selfish. People are selfish. People are about themselves. People are greedy. People have short memory spans. People are very ungrateful. So if you think that you can go for 6 years, like 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, and when you come back, they're going to want to help you and support you. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because now people only care about what do I stand to get? What do I stand to gain? And if you have nothing to barter with people, oh, I'll do this for this, or I can give you this for that, they will not help you. Will they even pick up your phone? Like, would they even call you? Like, sometimes I look at the people that are in my phone and I'm like, damn, right? Nobody checks on you. When you're going viral, when your products are going viral, you are always getting text messages. The fake ass flattery, right? When you stop being relevant or you stop being trendy, people don't give a fuck. You'll be surprised, like, damn, this is crazy. That I used to pray for you, did I not? They move on just like that. That's human nature. And I learned that too. Right? So, mental health things, they're real. Needing mental breaks, real. Needing time to unplug from the world, very real. Needing time to decharge and recharge, very real. You know what I mean? Those things are real. Needing your own time, your personal time, alone time, time to refigure things out and things like that, real. Spiritual journey stuff, very real. Those things are real, you guys. The soul needs what the soul needs. The mind needs what the mind needs. The body also needs rest. Those things are real. All I'm saying is put a timeline on it, right? If it's 6 months, stick to that. If it's 9 months, stick to that. If it's 12 months, stick to that. Once the time expires that you set for yourself, then you have to start working on a plan, right? I went through it. I've experienced it. Boom. I'm going to leave it right here. Now it's like, okay, how do I move forward? Because I can't also lose the stuff that I built too. Because you built something great. Alyssa she built something beautiful. You know what I mean? And she's very beautiful. Like, you build something beautiful and you're very beautiful. Right? So, Kayla Nicole. Who is that one? Her name sounds familiar. Kayla Nicole. Her name sounds really familiar. I have to look her up. You know what I mean? But everything you do, you got to put a time on it. Even with weight loss, right? If you want to lose a certain amount of weight, don't just say, oh, whenever I'll lose it, whatever. No. If you say, I want to lose this amount of weight, put a time on it. So that way you know what you're doing and you know how long you're doing it for. When you don't put a timeline on things, they can just go on forever and then we never reach our goals. And it's like this never ending merry-go-round of like, well, maybe tomorrow, well, maybe after. No, and no. And myself included. Trust me, I'm in there too, right? You gotta put a timeline on your objectives. You gotta put a timeline on your goals, right? And as hard as it is also, never forget who you are. And when you're that girl and you're a badass girl, and you're that girl, you can do it again. Because it's in you. Like, you're the blueprint. You got the sauce. Like, you legitimately, you really have the sauce. So you can do it over and over again. It might not be as easy to do it the second time, or it might be easier. There are things I didn't think could be this easy, but they were. I remember, for me, if you had told me, oh, Marlene, go start another channel, I'm like, oh, hell no. Because I remember, starting this channel, it was so much work. So much work. And so little things I got back from it, right? Then you go back and you start, really? Let me go look who she is. Her name sounds really familiar. I just can't see the face. Let me see who she is. Ciao. But sometimes the latter might even be better than the former. You're like, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be so hard. I thought it was going to be so crazy. And then maybe not, because the first time was probably hard building, but you learned so much from it. So maybe your second one will...
Because once you get back on top and you feel success again, you have your cup filled, you're not going to remember the hard times. And so they have to be really hard so that you can have a balance of remembering the hard times.
What is it called? She really sounds familiar. And I'm sure I know her. I just need to see her face for the one time. Hold on. Kayla. There's a Kayla Nicole TV show. Oh, Kayla, the very thin one. I knew her from somewhere. Yes, Miss Ponytail. Yeah, very thin. Yeah, it was. I think like her too, huh? That fame was like a lot for her at once, you know, because she showed up where she came from, and then to just blow up like they're trying to be funny on the internet, to becoming super super famous overnight. You know, there's a lot of stuff she didn't know how to navigate, right? There's a lot of stuff she didn't know how to navigate, and of course, a lot of people took advantage. You know what I mean? Because and that's the thing with social. I'm telling you, like, I feel like if you say to yourself, "I want to be a famous singer like Beyonce," right? Like she always knew she wanted to be a singer. If you say to yourself, "I want to be the world's biggest female rapper like Nicki Minaj," right? I feel like because those are your true aspirations, you're kind of like somewhat mentally prepared for the snakes, the people who take advantage, the this type of people. Da 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 da. Does that make sense? But when you are just playing on your phone, you know what I mean? When you're just playing on your phone, you're being silly on your phone, and then all of a sudden, you're popular. Like what? Like nobody prepares you for that kind of stuff because you never asked for this. You didn't even know it was gonna work. Cause like, what are the odds of like you doing a funny ponytail on social media and now everybody's going crazy? You know what I mean? And like you're really living in like serious poverty because she showed where she came from, right? Like it's like almost like a cabin, like a log cabin or something. And like all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, in a matter of weeks, months, you're thrusted into a level of like relevancy that you're not even mentally prepared, spiritually prepared, emotionally prepared. Nobody in your family has experienced this. You don't know anybody that you can trust that can give you sound advice. Oh, you know what? This is how you deal with this. This is how you protect yourself from this. Da, da, da. You don't even know. And then you're so young. So you're thinking like, oh, that's just my friend. That's just my friend. But you don't recognize the magnitude of what's at stake here. You're no longer a regular person. You see what I'm trying? I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like that's a lot. Cause what I saw, like some of the documentaries I saw before Kim and Nicole, it really seems like a lot of people took advantage. Cause I'm like, I don't even think this young lady recognized how popular she was. Like, oh, they're just my friend. He's my friend. Like I saw this one. I saw like somebody did a little video on her, and she had this guy friend, and it seemed like all the videos he ever did, like all their collaborations, he was always making fun of her, roasting her, and she didn't know how to stand up for herself. She would just be in the vlog, doing the collaboration. The guy's making fun of her, talking about her clothes, talking about her hair, blah blah blah. And you can see that she doesn't know what to say, what to respond. She's like, does she even know that she has a voice? You know, like it is crazy to me. Right? And I'm like, and I feel like sometimes, even when it comes to like the audience, like people out there, subscribers, followers, you name it, right? When people are watching these young people who just get thrusted into this fame like overnight, they also don't have enough mercy and empathy. Like, yo, like if I was in her position, would I know what to do? Right? Because you're not thinking about it. Like, you know, just like we're sitting here right now, right? We're sitting here, we're having a conversation, right? Y'all, the live could have like 3 million views tomorrow. You're like, what the heck? You, like, in your head, you never intended. Like, it's not like you're against it. Like, you've seen other people have millions of views. So it's not like you're against it. But in your head, though, you're thinking like, oh, I'm just talking like 34 people. Then you wake up tomorrow, a video that was like between 34 people, now it's like 2 million people have seen the video. Like, what the freak is this? What is this? You know what I mean? And then it keeps happening to you back to back to back to back. You're confused. You've never had this much attention. You've never had so many brands solicit you. You've never had all this money being... It's like, what is this? What is this, right? And that's for anybody. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how old you are. You could be 40 years old, 50 years old, right? If your YouTube channel goes viral, if your TikTok goes viral, if whatever goes viral, and all of a sudden, bunch of brands are trying to talk to you, bunch of influencers are in your DMs, like people that you used to watch all the time on YouTube, you used to comment and get completely ignored. Now they want to be your friend. Now they want to talk to you. Now they want to invite you out to eat. Like, you know, the kid in you is like, oh my gosh, like, can you believe so-and-so wants to talk to me? Because this is new to you. You don't know that people in this game are only driven by money, views, and follower count. You don't even know it's a fucking game because your heart is not that toxic. You don't even realize this stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. Like your mind is not there. It's not until you've been played that you're like, oh shit, They never cared about me. They only cared about having access to my audience, making sure they could grow their audience off of me, getting a percentage off my shit. Like, you start to recognize, like, nobody cared about me, the human being. And that part really hurts. It really hurts because you go into it thinking like, oh, they really like me. I'm about to make some friends. I used to watch their videos all the time. And now they know who I am. That is so cool. We're about to be friends, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, no, they're about to exploit the shit out of you. And that truly hurts. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't, like, what? It's a sick game. Like, this popularity thing, this fame thing, like, it's really sick. And it's like, you recognize, like, people only care about money, views, subscribers. That's it. They don't care about you, your soul, your mental health, even your management. Right? Like, people want, like, when you're doing well, all these people want to represent you, be your manager, blah, 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 blah. When you stop bringing in revenue, they don't even pick up your phone calls anymore. They don't even answer emails anymore. Because now it's like, you're a has-been. And I'm like, now I see why these Disney kids all go crazy. I see why people that were famous as children, when they're no longer relevant as adults, I see why Bow Wow has issues. I really do. Because when you were younger and you were making all this money, the way people praised you, gave you compliments, were always inviting you places, everybody want to be your friend, every girl want to date you, you know what I mean? Like, you were like that person. And you got drunk of that stuff, right? You never think, oh, I'm going to be Bow Wow and I'm never going to grow in height and then eventually I'm going to become irrelevant and have to do reality TV show. You think Bow Wow, when he was Bow Wow Wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay, and he was super cute because he was small. Like, he was a kid, so him being that small wasn't a problem, right? But you think Bow Wow thought, like, oh, one day he's not going to be relevant no more? Exactly, right? Like, but I feel like I think Wendy's kind of mean enough to know that people ain't shit. But I feel like kids like Bow Wow, all the Disney kids who grew up on Disney and they became irrelevant, right? And have like substance abuse problem because they want attention one way or another, right? But I'm like, I could see, because when you're popping, everybody's kissing your ass. Everybody wants to be your friend, right? Everybody wants to be around you. Like, you know, you can do no wrong. You're constantly booked. Money's coming. Like, you just think about money, it shows up, okay? There are people begging you to take their money, right? Everybody wants to be your friend. You know what I mean? Everybody's DMing you, sharing your stories, talking about you. It's like, you can get hooked to that kind of stuff. Like, it could be like your crack. You could become a crackhead of fame. And then one day, you're no longer relevant, and then nobody cares about you. Or one day, suddenly, you know, something gets posted about you, and then the tide just shifts, and people go from loving you like crazy to now they want to hate you, they want to dox you, they want to kill you. They're like saying all kinds of weird stuff to you, and they're like, you're confused. Like, but yesterday, you guys were completely in love with me, and today you fucking hate my ass. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we play with the social media stuff. Everybody wants to be famous and everybody wants to be popping and get a bunch of views. But it's like, nobody prepares themselves mentally for the ups and the lows, right, of social media fame and social media exposure. Nobody prepares themselves to that. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen a lot of people crash hard from this social media stuff, because when you go up on social media, you can go like up, 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 up. And the people will gas you up. You never think you're coming down. You think, oh, that's it. I've made it. Like, I went viral a couple times. Everybody knows my name. Everybody's in my DMs, right? You thinking like this is it. And then bloop, bloop, nosedive. Nobody talks to you. Your comments are dry. Your likes are dry. Your views are dry. Like, I'm like, that has to do something. Like, that definitely does something to a person, right? So, like, it's really sad, because I watched the documentary. I was like, yo, like, Kayla, she was really, really taken advantage of by so many people. You know, all by herself like that. Because everybody's just a vulture. Everybody's a vulture. So I'm like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's really crazy. But that's the thing, like, we all have to think about when it comes to being on social media. Like, you know, there is a chance that one day your stuff could take off, right? And when it does take off, are you ready? Do you have what it takes to discern good people from bad people? Do you have what it takes to discern a real friend from a fake friend, right? Do you have what it takes to discern who wants you, like who wants what's good for you and who doesn't want what's good for you, right? Because you never know. Your stuff could really take off overnight. And you're thrusted like this. And a lot of these people are not good people. Right? Just like today, when I see all the OG influencers on Instagram, you'll see them. Because, like, you know, like, like nowadays, like, when you look at brand trips, like beauty brand trips now, it's all the TikTok girls that are going. The OG girls, like the Desi and them, they're not going anymore. Like, their season is come and going, right? But, like, now, the majority of, like, beauty brands are mostly focusing their marketing dollars on TikTokers, right? So, to go on Instagram and to see like the OG beauty girls that used to be like big badass, don't talk to people, very conceited, to see them now in the comments of these TikTok girls kissing their ass. I'm like, yo, shit is real, right? Because what they're trying to do, they want to build friendships with the TikTok girls because their engagement is down. But it's like the whole thing is fucking transactional. But it's like, if you don't know this, right? Let's say like you're a young girl who grew up and you watched this particular beauty influencer back in the day when you were a kid. Now that you're popping on TikTok and she's on Instagram in your comments, you're like, oh my gosh, I remember I used to watch her. Like, you're kind of like starstruck, right? So you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be friends with her. But low-key, high-key, she's trying to rub that TikTok magic on her shit, so that these brands can circle the block and come back and give her brand deals, because the brand deals are gone for a lot of these OG beauty girls now. Because they're not getting the views, they ain't getting the sales, they ain't getting nothing. Everything happens on TikTok. Right? So like, to see that kind of desperation, like, yo, like, it is surprising. It surprises me to see these beauty girls that used to like be so stuck up and arrogant on YouTube to be in the comment section of beauty TikTokers, right? Because they're desperate for some traction. They want traction because their engagements are low. You know what I mean? Like on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, you name it. They're not relevant anymore. So now they're like panhandling in the comment sections. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy, right? So it goes to show you, like, that's human nature. That's human nature. That's human nature. So you have to think about that. Like, when you choose to put yourself on social media, you might think like, oh, I'm never going to pop off. It might never take off. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But what if it does, right? What if it does? Are you ready for that kind of stuff? Myself included. That's a great question, right? What if it does? Like, are you ready for that kind of stuff? Because your stuff could really pop off. Your stuff could really, really take off, right? And so you have to make sure that you understand that not everybody who praises you, comes around you, wants to be your friend, is trying to do that for the right reasons. You know, so for Kayla, it's really sad. It's really sad. And I don't know, maybe I don't know, I hope she comes back to social media, but I don't know if she'll come back though, because that can really scar a person. It can really scar a person. And then imagine if she trusted other people with her finances, right? So it's like, oh, you were famous you were popular all across social media, and now you have no money, right? Because a lot of people don't lead you right. A lot of people come to your friend and like, you pay for everything. Oh, well, you got money, so you pay for everything. A lot of manager who steal your money. Child, it is a lie. It is a lie. And I can see why a lot of people who are famous hate being famous. Because it makes you a target for a lot of scams, exploitation, all kinds of stuff, right? All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. And I'm like, that's really, really sad. That's really sad. But that's the thing about social media. You have to prepare yourself for this stuff. Like, am I ready? Like, this lady, you know that girl, the lady on TikTok who does like sprinkles. She is something else. Everybody's talking about the Sukiana stuff. Sukiana and that boy. Child, social media. Social media is too much. Yeah, sprinkle. Like, that lady, my little sister sent me one of her videos. I'm like, what the heck is she promoting to the young people like this? Like, what is this? Sprinkles. Sprinkle. I'm like, what is this? You know, so, you guys, I swear. May God protect us all, y'all. May God protect us all. You know, may God protect us. But yeah, but pray for Alyssa though. We all need to pray for Alyssa. We all need to pray for her. I pray she finds her mind. I really pray she finds her mind. I pray she finds her health. I pray she finds her courage. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm like, what is this lady promoting with the sprinkle, sprinkle? Like, what is this? Like, this is just too much. Y'all, social media is just too much. It is too much. It really is too much. And it's so sad because it's like, to some extent though, for as much as you might want to live without it, you really can't live without it, because I'm like, it's the future. You know, now that you also have Apple coming in here trying to make the whole, like, I don't know, metaverse thing happen with their own goggles for the metaverse. I'm like, they want us more and more and more and more, you know, like on these social media apps. Like, they really want us on these things. Like, they want that to be your reality more than the real world. You know what I mean? It's like, today, what can you do without social media? You know, what can you do without social media? You need it for your business. You need it to talk to people. You need to find customers. Like, oh my gosh, like, it is just, oh gosh. You know, what can you do without, like, they want us to, like, they want us to, like, be attached, committed, married to social media. Because what can you do without social media today? You know what I'm saying? What can you do without social media today? You know? Oh my gosh. And it's like, and the stuff that comes with it, the stuff that, the bad stuff, the bad stuff that comes with it, like, the majority of us, we're not equipped to deal with that stuff. Like, we're not mentally equipped to deal with that stuff. Like, we're not spiritually, mentally, financially, emotionally equipped to deal with what comes with social media, you know, or like being popular on social media and stuff like that. Like, there's no book on that. There's no course on that, you know? And it's like, you got to figure that stuff all by yourself. And it's a lot. It is a lot. Like, social media can be so much. You know what I mean? And they want us hooked on these apps, like, nonstop. Speaking of, I have a new account on this app called Lemonade. Yeah, I went from, like, hating social media to, like, being all over social media now. But I have this account on Lemonade. I like Lemonade. It's kind of cute. I have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Lemonade. You know, I'm all over the place now. You know. But, I mean, for business, it's good, you know. Meeting new people, it's good. It's just that you got to be very careful. You gotta be very careful. You gotta be very, very careful, you know, because I have my share of, like, I have my shares of licks on social media with people, child. Girl, I've been so bitten and smitten and hurt by the people, girl. But I thank God I'm still alive, though. Thank God I'm still alive. You know, so that's it, y'all. This is my little live for today. Let's pray for Alyssa. Pray she finds her strength. Pray she finds her courage. And I pray she regains her mind, her beautiful mind, and that she can create more, she can put, like, you know, post more videos. Because even shorts, like, if she was to post shorts on YouTube, they would do so well. They'll do so well, you know. But sometimes, like, you want to be attached. Oh, I want to have a certain aesthetic. Oh, hey, boo, what's up? You want to have a certain aesthetic on your page. You want things to look a certain way. Y'all, I've been thinking about this series. Here I go to my damn self, right? Because I've been thinking about this series for my other channel. That's how I want it to look like this and look like that. And I'm like, Marlene, at this rate, just say you just don't want to post content. Because what? You know what I mean? You know. No, I haven't posted on building a brand. I need to post there too. You know, but I'm trying to do a series for Fit by Lena, and I'm like, I have this idea in my head. I'm like, it turned into something so big. I said, oh my gosh, like, this is overwhelming, you know. Then I was like, okay, how about you start with this? And then today I thought about something even smaller, right? And so, like, as I was walking, because I walk everywhere now, I'm trying to walk more. I walked like 10 miles today. That was a lot. My feet are hurting. I walked 10 miles today. And so as I was walking, I was like, Marlene, think of Mr. Beast. Think of Ryan. Like, you know, they started off ratchet. Like, you got to be okay with being ratchet. You know what I mean? Like, 10 miles. Oh, my goodness. 10 miles, child. I did over like 25,000 steps today. But I was like, you got to be okay with starting ratchet, right? You got to be okay with, like, starting with what you have, right? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to come out the gate swinging. I mean, you can swing, but, you know, you might not swing that hard. But, you know, you have to learn to be okay with where you at and just giving the world what you can afford to give, okay? And let that be that. You got to build on it, right? Like I said, you can be great or you want something like super great, that's cool, but I think consistency is even better, okay? So I was like, okay, fine. Be consistent with the small things, okay? You ain't got to do all this kind of stuff. No, I need to post more on there. I miss building a brand. But you know what, though? It has helped me, though. It has helped me because some of the stuff I've been thinking about, I'm like, oh, yeah. I remember when I posted this video, how to edit on this video, whatever. So building the brand has definitely, like, the stuff I posted has, like, really helped me. Hopefully, I can make my own videos, like, with me talking. I just need to, like, be done with, like, losing this weight. But, you know, sometimes you want to be, like, perfect, but you know what? Just get better by 1% every day, okay? Just get 1% good, you know? Just like with Alyssa, you know, I know sometimes too, like, let's say if you were like a YouTuber and maybe your channel was making like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, because people have changed so much and the tastes have changed so much and the trends have changed so much, right? Let's say your YouTube channel only makes like $500. You might be like, man, fuck that. What is this? Because, you know, ego. Maybe you know, you're like, who the fuck? I'm too good for this shit. What the fuck? Where am I getting this kind of shit, right? I've been there too. There was a time I used to be so upset, like, why is my video just getting $3? $3? What the fuck is this shit, right? Man, fuck that. Why would I work this hard just to get $3? You know what I mean? I get it. You know, but we have to remember, right? You have to remember everything is cyclical, right? When it's good, take it. You know, and even if you used to make like 20,000 or you used to make like 10 grand a month from your channel and now your channel's just making you 500, don't look at your channel with disdain. Like, man, this basic ass channel, you know, because, you know, sometimes if you didn't know how much other people made, you would not have any issues. You know, you wouldn't have any issues with your check, right? Sometimes we forget. Hold on, y'all. Like, sometimes we forget, like, when you first start YouTube, you're like, man, I can't wait to get monetized. Huh? You say that. I can't wait to get monetized. I can't wait to get monetized, right? The first time you get monetized, you're so excited. Like, oh my God, right? The first time you get your first check, like the $100 mark, you're like, ah! You're so excited. Then you start to hear, oh, this person making $5,000 a month. This other person here making $20,000 a month. Now you look at your channel like, bitch, what the fuck is this? $100, bitch. Whatever, right? Because you're comparing to other people. And you forget that there was a time you were crying, begging God, please monetize my channel. You would have done anything to monetize your channel. I've done it too. You guys, I swear, repentance will set you free, y'all. When you repent from your sins, God's going to help you. Because that's maturity, that's accountability. You know, when you repent from your sins, right? You understand? You have to learn to take the good with the bad. Right? You're like, what the fuck? I remember the first time this channel made it was like $126. Y'all was so happy. Like, what? It came from the skincare video. Right? And then when I was in Columbus, my YouTube channel was paying my rent in Columbus. Girl, it was like 600 something. I said, oh yes, baby, I made it. You understand, right? And then I started making money within the lashes. So I was like, this little money, what is this? I stopped checking. Hey, Jesus. My God, he will humble you. I stopped checking my PNC account. I didn't even know what happened to the channel, where the money was going. Girl, I didn't check. Hey, when life started to get hard, I said, oh my gosh, I wonder if I could get my YouTube money. Girl, tell me why. One of the skincare videos went on to make $12,000. But the problem with YouTube, if you don't claim the money, after a year, the money is gone. I said, huh? Y'all, one day I sat here and I went and I looked at the videos to see how much they made, like lifetime money. I said, you made how much? Oh, Jesus. You guys, I wanted to cry. I posted on Instagram. I said, huh? $12,000. But I was like, oh, what is this? Oof, this is a lot of money. But the thing is, yes, it's a lot of money today. But the thing is, it's like an avalanche. It's like a snowball thing. Like, it keeps getting bigger. So you shouldn't despise, like, oh my gosh, that's just $3. What am I going to do with this? What is this? You know what I mean? Right? But that's what I did. So sometimes, like Alyssa, for example, right? Because when you're popping, your RPM is high. Like your CPM is popping. So like imagine she was making like $20,000, $30,000 a month. You get used to that. And then you even feel like maybe it's not enough. Because you hear about the James Charles and the Jeffree Stars and all the... And I think that's another problem too, sometimes. With a lot of black girls too, the ones who did well, because you feel as though I'm like... doing so much more. I'm way more creative. Like take Malibu Dollface, right? Take Malibu. Is it Malibu Barbie or Malibu Dollface? Bajan, is that his name, with the pretty hair, the pretty wigs, right? But you think of Bajan, for example, like think of Malibu Dollface, right? Before Jeffree Star was a thing on YouTube, like the way he would do his hair, his makeup, all that kind of stuff, right? Like, come on. He should have been a millionaire on YouTube. You understand? People like Jeffree Star, James Charles, and other white boys who put makeup on with their subpar skills and their ugly ass synthetic ass wigs, they come out of nowhere, house, piano, trips, jets, da 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 da. So I can see, and I can really empathize. I can really understand how a lot of black influencers, even though for most people, what they're making is like, oh shit, that's somebody's entire salary, or that's like a lot of money, right? That's like PhD, MBA type of money, right? But relative to your peers who happen, your counterparts who are white, you're like, for all the work I do, I'm only making this. And then these white people just come here, just be mediocre, steal from a lot of black people, by the way, with the got to be glued, the glueless wigs. A lot of these white boys who wear makeup, they take a lot from the black guys who do the makeup stuff, right? And they get to be bigger. They get to have crazy campaigns, $1 million endorsement deals. I mean, you go on to say. So, like I said, once again, when you are creative and you feel unappreciated, you feel hurt, taken advantage of, exploited, you say, oh no, bitch, I'm gonna pack my shit. I'm gonna block all my videos, because one thing you hoes not about to do is exploit me today. So you pack you take your bag with your gifts and you go about your business, because it's hurtful. Because it is hurtful. It's a slap in the fucking face. You have to. I didn't claim it, so now the money going, sis. YouTube took my money. Maybe I can get a lawyer and get my money back, but so that's that. So I could see, like, like girls like Alyssa, like if you're working so hard and you see a bunch of white girls doing mediocre shit and they're getting all this money, they're making way more money, or they have a higher CPM, they have a higher RPM than you, you might be like, what's the point of like even trying? Why am I even doing this shit? You know what I mean? Because you forget, and like that's when they say like comparison is a thief of joy, that stuff is real, right? And sometimes you forget, like, maybe even though things are not as good as they used to be, or I'm not making as much as I used to be, right? That's still my business. That's still my baby. Well, that's still like how I make my living. I have to do my very best to nurture it. I know I didn't have that wisdom myself. I didn't have that maturity. I was like, this ain't it. What is this? Oh my gosh, what is this? This is not money, right? Until you don't have money, you're like, oh my gosh, what? Oh, $3. Thank you, Jesus. Right? So that's another thing I've learned. It's like your posture towards money. Money is money. Even $1 is money. Because wait until the day you don't have a dollar bill. You're like, oh man, I wish somebody give me $1 today. Right? Wait until the day you don't have $1,000. You will be like, man, I will do anything to have a channel that makes $1,000 a month. Right? So don't get discouraged when your RPM goes down, your CPM goes down, your YouTube money is not the same, and I know, like, even comparing yourself to white content creators too, that could be another dagger in the heart. Like, what the what? These people are not as creative, but they're making way more than me. They have bigger houses than me. They have bigger opportunities than me. White people get a lot more than black people, per usual, and that can really affect the person. It can really affect the person, right? But you have to calibrate once again, you got to control your thoughts. You got to control your emotions. You got to control yourself. You got to tell yourself, right, just because it's bad today, just because it's not as good as it used to be, doesn't mean it won't get better. right? Everything is seasonal. Like there's another girl here too. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Raven. She's light skinned like that, very thin. Like I think she started off like beauty. She has a daughter. Started off with beauty. I guess she left beauty down. She reinvented herself as like as a podcaster. Like she does all the podcasts now, right? So nurture your channel. Keep doing the best that you can, right? But still keep thinking about how can I reinvent myself, right? But one thing, you can have a channel that looks like it's dead, and you can rebuild it, right? We have seen people on YouTube reinvent their channel, like Shane Dawson. At one point, he was canceled. Then he went into like this whole conspiracy theory type of stuff, making that kind of content, and then he reinvented himself. Like there are a lot of people whose channels were like dead. The views were gone. People were not watching. You know what I'm saying? But then they kept thinking. I guess they kept asking God, kept thinking, and then something comes, and oh, maybe I could do that instead, and I can reinvent myself, right? So this is a business. Like when you create content for YouTube, like you really are in the entertainment business, right? You really are in the entertainment business. So, and what entertainers do, like Beyonce, all entertainers, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Tina Turner, Oprah Winfrey, all entertainers have to reinvent themselves, right? You're not going to just do one thing and stick to that. You can't. You have to reinvent yourself, right? You have to reinvent yourself. Like it's part of that. And once again, if your ego is too high, if your ego is too big, you're like, oh no, I'm too good for that. Oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm not. It's like you cannot do that. Like you really have to understand that. You have to, like, that's part of creating content, right? That's part of having a channel. Like you are an entertainment channel. You have to reinvent yourself. Like me, look, I went into fitness, right? Like you have to reinvent yourself. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice if it was like, let's ride up into the sunset with one channel, one direction. For some people, they have the luxury of that. But you could see even a lot of beauty channels, like people who are into beauty, a lot of beauty channels are struggling, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you see it, like even your girl Aaliyah's face. Aaliyah, she started off like beauty, but she moved more into like lifestyle. Like y'all about to kill me with this beauty stuff, right? Because beauty is dead, lifestyle is in, right? Lifestyle is in. There's another girl I see too, Peyton. I don't know if you guys know about Peyton Charles, but Peyton too, from what I saw, she started her YouTube channel doing a bunch of hair reviews and wig reviews and hair reviews. She's like, you're not about to kill my channel with this hair review stuff. So Peyton too, she's more into the lifestyle type of stuff too, right? Peyton does a lot of lifestyle stuff that's really good for her. She has really strong engagement, etc. So you have to learn to reinvent yourself. Don't take it too hard. Like, don't take it like, oh, look at me, I can't believe I'm a failure. Don't take it too much too hard. It's a lot of unfairness. It's a lot of injustice. If you were white, things would have been a whole lot better, a whole lot easier. I promise you, if Alyssa was a white girl, given her amount of success on YouTube, she would still be in LA. She would still have money, but unfortunately, she's black. So, her money not going to be the same. Because when you're white and you fail, you never really fail. There's always somebody to pick you back up, okay? But when you're black, it's different. So that hurts too, because it's very unfair, but America is racist, what can I say, right? But amidst of all of that, you can still succeed. You can reinvent yourself. Like, it's happened for me. Like, you can reinvent yourself. You can start over, and sometimes starting over might be better, okay? You can start another channel. You can go into cooking. You can go into house stuff. You can go, people are there to consume the content. You just got to have the right content, right? You just got to have the right content. So never stop being hopeful. Like, don't ever be like, oh, man, F this channel. It's not making as much as it used to make. But you have to remember, there was a time when this channel did you good too, right? So don't look at your stuff with disdain, right? Because it means that you're comparing yourself to other people. You're not being as grateful as you should be, right? Nurture your channel. Nurture your businesses. Nurture your mind. Nurture your creativity. Be patient. Right? Just because somebody is ahead of you today doesn't mean that 4 or 5 years from now you can't surpass a person. You got to stay in the race, right? Got to stay in the race. That's why I said, once again, don't let your emotions get the best of you, because when you let yourself be too emotional, too sad, you're going to quit on the race. I know I quit plenty of time when I should have stayed in it, right? So don't let stuff get to you, because then you'll be like, man, F this, F my channel. Why should I post? I don't care to post, man. Why would I post just to make $5? Why would I go this hard just to make $30? But the thing with YouTube is like, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And plus, if you love making content, make your content, right? Even if your view's not the same, it doesn't matter, right? Because you never know. You might post, and then you might discover something. Because I've seen a lot of people reinvent themselves on YouTube. You know, I've seen a lot of people who's like, their channel were not doing good, and they rebranded, they came up with a new concept, they tried different things out, and it worked. It really worked, right? It really worked. If you did it once, you can do it again. Maybe not the same style, not the same format, not the same concept, but as long as it's you and you have a good reputation, people like you, you're not in drama, no foolishness, right? I really think that you can really, like, you can start over in many different ways. You can do many different things, right? And if it's done well, if it's done with love, if it's done with passion, people, it will resonate with people. You know, you can go from beauty to fitness, right? You can go from a beauty channel to a lifestyle channel. You can go from beauty to, you know, I don't know, like fixing houses and doing the decorations and decor, right? You're not stuck doing one thing, right? You're not stuck doing one thing. You can have multiple channels. And the days you feel like doing YouTube beauty, you come back to your beauty channel. If you want to like do decoration stuff, you go do your decoration stuff. If you want to do fitness, you can have multiple channels under one email on YouTube. I think you can have up to like 50. You can have up to 50 channels with one email address on YouTube, right? So you can have different channels for what you're interested in. Like you can even have a cooking channel, and that might do better than all your beauty stuff, right? So just because you start off with beauty and hair, you don't have to be trapped in it. You can go try something else. And then, you know, you can have a commentary channel. I mean, it's up to you. But my point is, like, you can do many things, right? But I really do think there's a lot of power in creating content. There's a lot of money to be made in content creation. There are a lot of relationships to build with content creation. Like, nobody should ever give up on creating content. You know what I mean? That's one thing I do regret. Like, you know, I didn't have the perspective I have now, but it's what it is. But I'm like, I really feel like nobody should ever give up on creating content, right? Like, think of all the songs that were made in the 60s and the 70s that are getting sampled today, right? These people are getting checks now. Imagine if they never made those songs. They would not be getting checks. Like, you know, so when you create content, you never know who's going to use it. You never know who's going to need it. You never know who's going to pay you for it. You can make a YouTube video today. It doesn't do anything for a whole year. And then next year, that video that made no money, next year it makes $20,000. You guys, I've seen it. Creating content is like investing in the stock market, right? Today you have nothing, but then you wake up tomorrow, you wake up a year from now, you wake up 3 years from now. That one video can bring you 10 grand in one day, right? One video can bring you $500 in one day. So creating content is like, it's a catalog. Like, you're building your catalog, you're building your stuff, and you own it because it's on YouTube, right? But my thing is, like, it can bring you money at any time. So never give up on creating content. Never, ever, ever give up on creating content. Never give up on creating content. I don't care how bad you think it is. I don't care how you don't have any views. I do not care. Keep creating the content, because that's how you're going to get better. The more content you make, the more you edit, the more you color grade, the more you do all this kind of stuff, you're only going to get better. Nobody gets worse at making content unless you're like trying to get worse. But people who make content and make more content and make more content, they only get better. They get better at filming. They get better at lighting. They get better at editing. I even said, I was like, you know what? I might even go back, like, later when I have more time in my life. When I have more time in my life. Like, I'm really thinking about, like, you know, like doing makeup videos again, right? Just for me, because I want to do it for me, not for views, not for money. And I feel like that's what fucked up a lot of people too. Is like YouTube became like this money thing. Like, oh, I gotta have all these views, I gotta have money, da da da. So then you stop doing what you love because you're chasing views and you're chasing this and you're chasing that, and you're chasing this, right? Does that make sense? But my point is, though, right? If you love making makeup videos, right? You can have a channel that's like your passion, and then have another channel that you do because that's how you want to make money. Does that make sense, right? Like Bruna, she cooks. Like, if you like cooking, like, even if you don't have views, cook for your kids. That one day, if you, like, the day you die, your kids could come to your channel and remember all your recipes, right? Not everything is always about, oh, I gotta make money, I gotta be the most famous, I gotta be the most popular, I gotta have the most views. Sometimes you create content because you want to leave something on this planet to the day that God calls you, like there's a piece of you somewhere that your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren can reference. Does that make sense? So a lot of times, like, you know, it's okay to make content that speaks to your soul. Post, but just, you have to post it though. It can't be content that speaks to your soul, that stays inside your soul, right? You got to post the content. Post the content, okay? But I'm like, the only thing it can do is make your life better. I don't think, unless it's like, you know, drama, gossip stuff, like I guess that can make your life worse. But anything that can help anybody, from decoration, cooking, cleaning, self-improvement, reading books, I don't know, stuff that's like self-development stuff, right? How can it hurt you? How can it hurt anybody? Like, that's good content, right? Like, everything is content. Look at Walt Disney. It's content. Star Wars. It's content. You know, yeah, even Jackie O, for as sad as it is, right? But like her children, like especially the baby, the youngest one that's 6 months, right? At least the baby will have the YouTube channel, try to remember what the mom was, like what my mom looked like, what did she sound like, who was she? But imagine she never posted content, right? So like I feel like just for that, just to document that you were here for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, right? I think just for that alone, you should make your content, you know? But like, you know, life is crazy. But like I said, like your creativity is meant to be shared. It's not meant to stay in your gut. It's meant to be shared so that hopefully whoever sees it, it makes their lives better. You know, I'm just gonna start posting more on my fitness channel too, you know, to share my journey over there and try my best, right? I wish I had more things to record and edit with, but I'm going to do what I have, right? So I inspire you guys too to create content. Maybe we'll start like a content challenge, like a 6 months, create content for 6 months. Like maybe we'll do a challenge like that, right? But you should really create your content. Like, do not hold your content hostage. Do not hold your content hostage, no matter how bad it is. It has to be bad to get good. And that's just like life. You have to go through pain to become better. You got to go through pain to become stronger. Right? So stop resisting the ugly stuff. Stop resisting the painful stuff. Stop resisting the stuff that's not attractive, right? And you know, even though, like, let's say your YouTube channel only makes $5, you know, it would be nice to make $5,000, wouldn't it? Right? But right now you're not there. But it doesn't mean that by next year your channel cannot make $5,000, right? So be encouraged. You know, you got to make $3 to get to 5,000, right? You got to make $3. You got to make 300. You got to make 1,000. Then you can get to 5,000, right? But nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. You got to be patient. Don't compare your race to somebody else's race. Don't compare your timing to somebody else's timing, right? Just be consistent. Be hella consistent and believe in yourself, right? And then also forgive yourself for the stuff you should have known that you didn't know, right? Forgive yourself for the stuff that you don't know, right? And it's like, do the best that you can, right? Do the best that you can with what you have. Just show up every day. Show up every day. Post your content every day. Try to be better every day. Sure, like if you're on a weight loss journey too, show up every day, right? Do your very best every day. You know what I mean? But you know, post your content. Don't look down on your YouTube channel, because even something that you don't want or you think is less than, you know, somebody else would die to have it. Like even this channel, I keep saying I want to do skincare, but I'm like, I don't even know how to. I'm so tired, but you know, maybe I gotta fix that. But my thing is, like, even here, there is somebody out there who would love to have a channel with like 77,000 people on there, right? Some people would love to have a channel that has 77,000 people, you know, and I do, and I barely do anything with it. So may God forgive me too. I was like, yo, it's crazy because I have 2 channels that are monetized. I have this one and I have the Fit by Lena one, right? But I barely do anything on here. You understand? So I'm like, even that too. May the Lord forgive me too, right? I mean, I'm being serious. I'm being serious. Like, there are people who would love to have a channel like this one, right? And I don't post. I do lives. I put them in private. You know, I'm not serious. Like, you know, I'm being serious. Like, I'm a very honest person. I'm not serious with this channel, right? But then you'll say to God, oh, I wish my channel made this much. But God's like, you know, think about all the people who would love to have a channel like yours, and you're not doing nothing with it. So imagine, like, that's a slap in the face. You know what I mean? Like Bruna's trying to like grow her channel, right? She's like, man, if only I could have 77,000 people. I have that, and it's monetized. The channel's monetized. Been monetized for like how many years has been monetized? You know what I mean? And I don't take it seriously. I'm not consistent. You know, my other channel too, Fit by Lena, you know, I do post shorts, but I could do more. But I'm not consistent. You know what I mean? I'm not consistent. Because I always like these grand ideas. Like, how about you just post? Okay? You know what I'm trying to say? So, like, that stuff is also really real. But that's 2 channels that could be... I have 2 monetized channels on YouTube. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Right? So it's like, but what am I doing with it? Like, I wanted to do skincare on this one. Right? But I'm like... Yeah, it's a personal channel. Because sometimes, like, I want to do acne care on this one, but I wonder if I should move it to a different channel. Because I have another channel for acne. But maybe I should move it on there and do, like, an inspirational channel over here. Like, I'm always so torn when it comes to this channel. I don't know. Like, because when you think about, like, the biggest checks, like, even to this day, the videos that make the most money on this channel are skincare videos. So it's like somehow this channel is like technically not somehow. I know how because I post the content, but this channel is like it's indexed for skincare. You understand? So that's why I'm like, hey, like I want to say like skincare related when it comes to this channel. Just that you guys are here. So it's like, and we do talk a whole lot. Maybe we could do like skincare and life advice or something like that. I don't know. We just talk about skincare and do life advice, right? Maybe I'll start doing that. You see what I'm trying to say? But like this weekend I was thinking about, it's like, you know, like it's not serious. You know, like I'm being serious, right? And I'm being, you guys, I really have like really harsh conversations with myself because if you don't hold yourself accountable, who will? You know what I mean? All this air stuff, being a spiritualist, religion, like there's a time and place for that kind of stuff, right? Like, so there are times where I have to have really like pragmatic, realist conversations with myself. You understand? So my thing is like, it's not really serious. It's not serious. It is not a serious thing, right? To have 2 channels on YouTube that are monetized. There are so many people who want to monetize their channel. Like even the Fit by Lena channel, it was monetized in 6 months. So it's like, obviously God trying to tell me something, right? But there's only so much God can do for you, right? So like, I know I'm not a serious person. Yeah, but even if it's my diary channel, right? Let's say like this channel is my diary channel. I still need to be serious. You can't go like 2 weeks, 3 weeks without posting content. It is not serious behavior. Like, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say here, right? It's not serious behavior. Like, you have to be a serious person. And I don't think like when it comes to my channel, I don't think I'm a serious person. I'm not fake. That's fine. But I still need to be serious. Like, you can be a realist and be consistent. You know what I mean? Because there's no reason why. Like, when it comes to this channel, when it comes to, like, this channel right here, and given how much I can talk, for how many hours I can talk, there's no reason why this channel is not making, like, $5,000, $10,000 a month. There's no reason. There's no reason why this channel hasn't made 100, like it's not at 100,000 people yet. But the thing is, I'm not serious about it. Because I'm an Aquarius. You know, I'm an air sign, right? And that's that bullshit I be talking about. There's a time and place for this shit. Like at some point, you also got to be like, I live in the world. Like I got to take worldly shit seriously also. You can't be in the air all the time. Like that's just not serious behavior. It sounds good. But it's not serious behavior. Like you're not being a serious person. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Exactly. So now imagine if I was serious. You see what I'm trying to say? That's why I'm telling you, like the stuff Alyssa's going through, I can relate to it. Like I can't. Oh God, I see myself. You see what I'm saying? That's insane to me. And so I say I'm not because I'm like I've had this conversation with myself this weekend. I was like, how do you have 2 monetized channels and you barely post content consistently? Like both channels are monetized. Fit by Lena was monetized in 6 months. In 6 months, one day I got 40,000 subscribers in like 1 week. People kept subbing like this, like it was so crazy. Like I'm like I don't think I'm a serious person. You say you don't have to work on a B palette, work in Asia. I know, right? You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, let me tell you something too, right? Let me tell you something as well. Exactly. I'm not serious, Bruna. Oh, Angela, she's going through a lot, sis. She's going through a lot. She moved out of her house in LA. She made a live. I think her live is what really scared people. She made a live telling her people that telling her her subscribers that she only had $20 to her name. She was out in San Francisco, didn't know anybody. She didn't know she was going to be able to afford the hotel. But luckily, though, a lot of the people sent her Cash App. I was not on the live. Because when you watch the live and replay, you can't see the Cash App. So I asked people in the comments what the Cash App is so I could send her some money too, right? But it's like she's going through a lot. And she's an air sign. She's a Gemini. So, it's going to be, she's in the air right now. So she's going through a lot. You know, so we're praying for her. Like, really praying for her mental toughness. Like, you can overcome this, right? But it's like, nah. But I was thinking about, that's what I'm like, when I watch her stuff, I said, oh my gosh, I can see myself in her. You know what I mean? Because she's like, oh, it has to look this way. It has to be this way. I said, oh gosh, the spirit of perfectionism will be the end of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you so sick. Don't tell you ain't shit. You really ain't shit. Right? But also, I need to be serious. Like, I need to be on both my channels. I need to be serious. But I ain't gonna lie to you, though. I need to be honest, too, though. I need to be really honest. I need to tell the truth, though. Because the truth gonna set us free out here. It's gonna set us free. I think sometimes what holds me back is, like, you feel like you're starting from scratch. Like, dang. Like, I really got to start from, like, you really want me to start creating content from the bottom. Like, you know, because making videos is hard. It's like recording. The frustration of it. Like, you know, like, that part right there kills me. That part kills me, right? And once again, it's my ego. It is my ego, like, oh gosh. Because, you know, like, when I remember, like, the days, like, when I was back in college, like, grad school, I could not wait, you guys. I couldn't wait to come home and do YouTube videos. Like, I was just so excited. Like, oh, I used to think about YouTube all the time. Oh, YouTube was my happy place. Like, I couldn't wait to come home and just do YouTube videos. So I don't know if it's like, I guess life happened to me, you know, trauma, you know, scarring. And I felt like also, like, maybe the older you get, the less excited you are about stuff. You see, look at Angela. See, even Angela's like, Mark, you're not serious. He said James had me, and James definitely did happen. Because James is not. When it comes to, like, doing stuff for social media, James and my dad were not supportive, too, though. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you really think about it. And I have to be honest. I think it's my ego. Like, like, you want me to start from the bottom. Because I'm like, in your head, you're like, man, if I had stuck to this, I would have been so far along. This is how I think, you guys. Y'all, please don't judge me. No, go ahead, judge me. Please judge me. It's fine. Judge me away. Okay? Because everybody needs a reality fucking check out here. So please judge me. It's cool. Right? But I do feel like, and it's my ego, I know this. I do feel like by now, I should have been way far ahead. I should have had the luxuries of content creation. Right? The luxuries, like, you know, people helping me, editors. And I used to have those too. Y'all, Lane Lashes used to have money, man. I used to have like 2 editors. Y'all, I was living my best life. Right? And you're like, damn, like, you want me to start from the bottom. And low-key, high-key, like, it is kind of embarrassing a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, man, who wants to start from scratch? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Who wants to start, like, at my age, you want me to start from scratch? Like, that's the mindset, you guys. I can't even lie. Like, I cannot even lie. I told you I'm an Aquarius. I have a lot of pride. Oh, Jesus, I have a lot of pride. Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me, right? I have a lot of pride. But then there's another part of me, which is the more mature, the more, no, that kind of supportive, yes, right? No, it's not like supportive. They just like, you see, and that's the thing. My husband, Gemini, my dad's a Libra. Once again, the air sign, right? Hey, oh my gosh, where you been since? Oh, what's my boo? Y'all, used to give me so many gifts. Oh, she used to spoil me. Oh, she used to spoil me. Fatima, oh, they used to spoil me like, oh, Angie, oh my gosh, Angie bought me Tory Burch one time. I said, huh? I went to the post office. I got the package. It was a Tory Burch. I said, Tory Burch bracelet. I still have it. Like, how old is Trey Trey? Probably had like 14 years ago. I sure do keep my little Tory Burch. I was shocked that did this girl really buy me Tory Burch? Like, what is this? Used to buy my hair oils and my hair stuff, but oh, thank you, boo boo. You see that stuff? But I'm like, so it's my ego. But when I said James does not support me, James is a great husband. Like, I can't say nothing bad about him. But if I say, oh, Jimmy, anything that has to do with YouTube, creating content, he just thinks it's foolishness. Because once again, air signs, we're very arrogant people. Oh, this is beneath us. Like, we should be doing philosophy, math, science, engineering. So it's like creating content. Like, that is so pedestrian. Like, who does this? Like, he does not think it's a serious thing. So that part, like, that's what I mean by support. Like, I asked him, like, can you come to the gym with me so you can record my workouts? Because, the camera that I have, because I have a Canon, you guys, I need to repent. Oh, you guys, please cuss my ass out. Like, you are more than welcome to cuss me out. Oh, baby, I tell you, when I see people contouring, when I see people use the tree of life technique to contour their noses, I said, that should have made me a millionaire. My tree of life technique should have made me a fucking millionaire. Okay? Jesus. So. But then it's my fault. But at that time, I didn't know what going viral was. So when the video was going viral, I'm like, oh, it was just a video. I didn't think it's like, when you go viral, like, you gotta bam, bam, pam, 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 pam. I didn't know that. Now I do, though. But then I thought about it, though. I'm not trying to be egocentric, though. I ain't trying to be egocentric, y'all. We're just having a conversation. I ain't trying to be egocentric. But I ain't gonna lie to you, though. But I did say to myself, like, low-key, high-key, though. What video, what concept have I ever touched that hasn't gone viral? When I did skincare, it went viral because of me. When I did the Tree of Life technique, I remember that video when I did the Tree of Life technique, and I talk about how to contour your nose, and I was talking about do it like Mufasa. People thought I was crazy. Like, what you talking about? They talk about my eyebrows. You, child, that video was heated. And now everybody contours like that. They take the contour all the way up here, bring it down here. This thing they call life. They'll bash you, then they spin the block and think about what you said. But I'm like, my Tree of Life technique should have made me a fucking millionaire. I should have been in Sephora by now. But I didn't know. Like, at that time, you didn't know YouTube, like, oh, this is what you're going to need to get into Sephora. Da, da, da. I wasn't thinking all of that. I said, like, maybe I'll just teach this little technique thing. I was in the bathroom, all stuck in the bathroom, doing this with my little camera. I was, like, struggling in there. Yeah, the creams, my girl, I used to buy my Indian air oils. I remember everything. It's so pretty. She has this beautiful chocolate complexion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know. But it's like, when you go viral, you gotta like, pop, 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 pop. I was like, oh, I went viral. I was like over there saying lashes, having my babies, raising Stefan. I didn't know. And then nobody told me. And that's like, you don't have real friends. You might say, oh, Marlene, the shit is hot. You need to come back and make all these videos. Because if they had, I'm like, oh, you think so? Because like me, I encourage people all the time. But when it comes to me, people don't want to encourage me. Maybe they see me as a threat. I don't know. But anyways, right? So right now, I have a Mark IV. I have a Canon. I have the Canon 5D, the Mark IV. Yeah, exactly, right? But skincare, it went viral. My makeup, Tree of Life, like my makeup for me when it came to makeup, my makeup looks didn't go viral, but me teaching makeup stuff went viral. Because if you look at my skincare and like all the videos, like my skincare videos where I teach stuff, and then my makeup stuff where I teach stuff also, me teaching always goes viral. Now, my makeup looks didn't go viral, though. But the teaching part goes viral, right? So, everything I touch, it goes viral. When I started doing lashes, too, lashes were not that big. But then the thing started going viral because of me, like the packaging. I even feel like ever since I stopped selling lashes, that the lash market is not that hot. Because these people were like, it's like they were like thriving off my energy. So, like now that I took my energy out, girl, Angela. Oh, my gosh, Angela. Say that stuff again one more time with the bullhorn. Put 2 bullhorns in the comments, actually. Put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is real because your perspective, you don't see it. Like self-sabotage, it comes from a really bad perspective. Like you're not in a healthy mental space where you see like this could be this big. You know what I'm saying? And I really think, not trying to, blame white people for everything, but I do feel like the lack of representation and greatness when it comes to black people makes you feel as though when you're great, are you really that great? You get what I'm trying to say? You see how like a white woman just throws few seeds and she gets all this praise, magazine covers, like, you know, gets to do a TED talk as a panel speaker with the very least amount of work. So it's like white people, I feel like, especially white women, I feel like they're constantly being validated. Oh, you're great, you're smart, you're innovative, da, 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 da. Does that make sense? But when you're black, though, that validation is so hard. Like, look at how hard Oprah Winfrey had to work to be validated. Like, look at how long it took for Viola Davis. And then come to find out, she went to an Ivy League school, so why is she struggling? You know, she went to school with Meryl Streep. Her and Meryl Streep went to the same school. They're like, damn, why it took you so long? Because you're a Negro? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like, because it's so hard. Like, even the black women who are exceptional, it takes them like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades. Like, Viola Davis has to cry with her entire snot coming out her mouth. She has to lick her snot out her nostril. Okay? Like, damn. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So, when you're a black kid, when you're a black girl, even when you are exceptional, you don't think like, you don't really think that. Because for us, it's like, no, I haven't suffered enough to be exceptional. I haven't toiled enough to be exceptional. I haven't been tortured enough. Because that's what it takes for a black person to be considered great. They have to struggle, suffer, wait their turn, wait 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, walk with a cane. And then when when they have 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot outside, then they get their flowers, right? So it's like, damn. So for you to feel like, oh, I'm like, you know, that's crazy. But I do feel like, and I say this all the time, I do feel like if I was a white girl, hell yeah, I would have a divine conviction that, yeah, I'm exceptional. You know what I mean? But because I'm black, even I feel as though, like, yeah, it's cute, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? Because I am so accustomed to people bastardizing the stuff that is made by black people. I'm so used to people taking for granted what's made by black people. So even when you do something exceptional, you don't think it's exceptional, you know, because you are accustomed to, you expect that somebody is going to trivialize the work that is committed because you're black, right? Because you always have to get black people on a cheap dollar. You always got to get black people like cheap labor. So that's why we're always diminished. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it makes it hard. So you're like, can somebody like me make something great? Like, you know, like who am I to think that this is great, right? It's not until you see like everybody doing your shit, like, oh shit, that's my shit. You know what I mean? But you didn't see it like that. Right? And then the sad part is like even people who are black, instead of telling you like, yo, you need to like double down on this stuff, right? They are also threatened that you come back because most black people are told that it can only be one person at a time. So even when a black person does something great, other black people are threatened like, well, maybe if she don't know that she's great, let's just make her feel like she's not that great so she don't come back because we don't want no competition, because that's their mindset. Right? Because a lot of black people too, inherently, they have consumed the messaging that there can only be one black person at a time, right? Less competition is better. Everybody's your competition. And we don't really have a spirit of collaboration because I did not know. So I missed out on a shit lot. And when I tell you, if I tell you it doesn't hurt me, like, it does, right? There was a time I used to be upset at my dad. I used to be upset at James, like, I was like, man, like even maybe I did resent like even becoming a mother. Like maybe if I didn't have kids, maybe if I wasn't married, right, I could have like done my YouTube full time and like been selfish and focused on that shit, right? But then it's okay, it's cool, whatever. You know, you can't compare having children to having a successful YouTube channel, even though sometimes I'm like, you know. But I can't regret having my kids though. But you do feel like, man, like I could have been like a GOAT, like I could have been the greatest. But it's cool. Muhammad Ali had a comeback, so I guess I could have a comeback too, right? But so that's that. So a lot of time, like it hurts. I can't even lie to y'all. Like it really does hurt. It does hurt, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. Cause James was just happy to see me not use camera. Oh, thank God her cameras are not up. She's not gonna ask me to film. So he was happy about me not having cameras all around the house no more and asking him to film. You know, and then you get tired of asking people to help you film. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've come a long way, but I'm like, it was awful. It was really awful, right? But maybe if you did it once, you can do it again. You know? Maybe if you did it once, you can do it again. But it's like sometimes, y'all, when you go through like severe heartbreak, like when you've experienced what I've experienced, like you can be scorned, man. Child, you can be like, I don't even know if I want to touch a makeup brush. Like dead ass. Like I don't even know if I want, and I feel like maybe I'm going through my rebellious stage, so pray for me also. But I don't even know like if I feel like even touching a makeup brush, because you're like, I gave so much of myself to this thing, and it's like I feel like I ain't got shit to show for it. And like that, ooh, that shit used to get me. Doesn't get me as much now though, but it used to make me really like, it used to make me bitter. Like I've done like, oh my gosh, baby Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, oh Lord Jesus, right? It used to make me so bitter, but maybe I gotta get past that shit too, though. I need to, gotta get past that shit, right? So, and then maybe you start over. You know, maybe you start over, and then you tell yourself that maybe this time it'll be better because you know all the mistakes I've made. It can only make me better. You know, when you learn from all your mistakes, your shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know, it can only make you a better person, right? It can only make you a better person. But I'm like, this channel, like, that's the thing with this channel. Like, it really is indexed for skincare and makeup. More so skincare. And when it's makeup, it's like me, like, teaching makeup stuff. And, you know, so maybe I gotta come back to do that, too. But it's like, you want me to start from the bottom. Oh, gosh. Oh, Lord Jesus. Y'all, this stuff started about Alyssa. Now it's turning about me. You know, but I feel like that's the same thing Alyssa's going through. I'm telling you, when you were at the top of your game, and then it feels like you got to start at the bottom. Yeah. Like imagine you play a game and like you winning, and all of a sudden you going through a whole reset. A reset? Yeah. Like you want me to start from the bottom? The bottom. So that's the egotistical, prideful, maniacal part of me. Okay, I'm being honest, right? But then the more mature part of me, like the more mature, calm part of me, is like, well, you're right. You do. My points are valid. Okay, you gotta validate my feelings. Okay, my points are valid, but it's like, you know, it's true. It's fucked up. The shit's fucked up. But what if you don't start? Like, what if you don't do it? And then another 5 or 10 years go by, right? Then you're like, man, I wonder if I had done it seriously for the next 5 to 10 years, maybe I could have got what I've lost. You see, so like that's the mature part, right? Alyssa's videos are there. She just put them on private. She didn't delete them. Because when you delete your videos, if you delete videos, your views go down. Like your channel views go down, but her channel views are still 94 million. Her channel views are still 94 million. And so the videos are there. They're just on private. She just put them on private. Because I'm sure she's trying to rebrand, right? But it's like you don't have to, just like people want to, like sometimes you'll see it on Instagram. Like when people like influencers want to rebrand, so they'll just like delete all their videos or all their pictures on Instagram and then they'll start over, right? But I'm like, I think that can affect you too when it comes to the algorithm. You could just slowly start adding more content on top. And then after a while, it's like people don't even go to the bottom. No, my videos are here. My old school videos, they're here. They make money. They make a little bit of money, but they're here, right? But I think about that. Because you can let your pain, your regrets, your ego get in the way and say, oh, you know what, fuck this shit. I really don't think I have it in me to start from the bottom, right? You can feel that way. Or you can tell yourself, yeah, it would have been nice not to have to start over. But what if in the next 5 years of me starting over, I can build something even bigger and better than what I had the first time? And that takes a lot of maturity. Right? Because just because you missed out on an opportunity, right? Does that mean you stop trying? Because what if you try again? And then, of course, it would have been so much nicer to get it right the first time. Shit, right? But, you know, it is what it is. It didn't happen. But what if you do it and then you commit to it for 5 years and then you have something even bigger and better than what you thought? Then you'll be like, oh, damn. You know what? I didn't want to start it, but I'm like, this is actually looking better than what I had before. You know what I mean? Because it could be a whole lot better. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. believing that, like, let's say you do a video, because the thing with YouTube also, especially when it comes to like makeup videos, y'all, the editing, Eesh. And you're like, God, you want me to do what for how many hours to make how much money? And God's like, you still haven't learned your lesson, huh? We're so stubborn. I think that's the other thing I've learned as human beings. Like, we are stubborn as fuck. We're so damn stubborn. God be like, girl, it's not about the money. It's about the consistency. You're like, but so I shouldn't be worried about money, like, cause I'm like trying to make. But once again, it's like, I think like when you know what other people make, it fucks with your head, right? Because if most people do, if everybody was not making money and just doing it for the fun of it, you wouldn't mind doing it for 2 hours, 3 hours and making no money. But once you hear that, oh, you're making how much, like your video makes how much, you're like, so I'm about to sit here and do all this to make what? $2 for what? Ew, the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? I think it's true, y'all. It is very true. I can't even lie to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I can't even lie to y'all. It is real. You know, and it's not even just me. I know it's for a lot of people. Because you're thinking, like, I'm going to do all this work just to make $2. Or I'm going to do all this work just to have, like, what, 1,000 views? While this bitch over there is having 200,000 views, right? But the thing is, like, just because you start with 1,000 views doesn't mean that eventually it can't be 200,000 views, though. And you have to learn to be happy with what you have. And I'm like, that takes maturity that I'm still working on. I can't even lie. That I'm still working on. You know? She's like, I'm going to edit all these videos and get what? But the good thing about YouTube, though, let me tell you something. The good thing about YouTube, if you have a business, right? If you have a business and like you have a Shopify store, especially like let's say you sell stuff like merch or products, right? If your channel is monetized, like this channel is monetized, which I should have done this sooner, but I didn't do it. Once again, I'm not a serious person. You know, I'm not serious. But from your YouTube channel, if you're monetized, meaning like if you have 1,000 subscribers and then you have the prerequisite for 1,000 watch hours, like if the channel is monetized and you have a Shopify store, you can pull your Shopify onto your YouTube channel. Imagine that. Exactly, Angela. But you know what, though? It takes maturity. It takes a lot. You got to be very mature. You got to be very patient. And what's one thing we don't like as people? We don't like to wait. Especially living here in America. Like, oh, what? I got to wait how long? What? I could have had this thing I'm trying to make $100,000 by tomorrow. I'm trying to make $100,000 by tomorrow. You know what I mean? But, you know... But like if you have a Shopify store and your YouTube channel is monetized, you can pull your entire store on YouTube so that it comes under your videos, like long form videos, not shorts. Like any long form video, I didn't see it on my lives, but like any long form, like regular OG, like old school YouTube video, your products will come under your video. So if you talk about your products, if you show your products, people can buy your products directly from YouTube, right? And then YouTube gives you a tab, like, so you have like your home, about me, like you have all these little tabs on your YouTube channel, like your main page, you have different tabs. There's gonna be a tab that shows up that says store. So once they click that too, they can see everything that's on your Shopify store. You can pull everything that's on your Shopify store. You can pull that onto your YouTube store, and people can shop on your channel, which is pretty cool, huh? I mean, that's pretty neat, but you gotta have Shopify. You gotta have Shopify. It doesn't do like Big Cartel, like it does specific websites. So you see, like as a entrepreneur, like whatever you sell, huh? Anything you sell that has a Shopify store, you can pull your inventory on YouTube. So let's say you do a video, even with 1,000 people, huh? People, because we've gotten so arrogant and we've gotten so conceited, myself included. Like 1,000 views, that's low, right? But it's like, have you ever seen 1,000 people up front? No, you haven't. So chill, okay? But my thing is, right? Even with 1,000 people, if you sell a product that, you know, it keeps being exposed to 1,000 people over and over and over again, one day it goes from 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 100,000 people. But imagine if your product, exactly, that's exactly what he said. So thank you again, Bruna. Pisces come through where the Pisces at? Okay, but it's like, and that's something that sometimes I can say honestly, I'm very impatient. a lot of pride, a lot of ego, very impatient. And because I'm impatient sometimes, I lack what it takes to stay in something long term. I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm out. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt about my YouTube channel initially. Because I'm like, what? Some videos, like, you know, sometimes I will do like the skincare Sunday videos. I'll be here for like 2-3 days doing this damn video, right? And then spend all this money, do all this editing, and then the video will only have like, only make $2. Oh, what the heck? $2. Man, fuck this shit. Do you know how much a Sisley toner cost me, you bitch? You know what I mean? Like, I was spending $100 for a toner, and you want to give me $2.35, you heifer? You know what I mean? I was like, man, F this shit, I'm out. You know? But that's just me being stupid. Now, fast forward, some of those skincare videos have made $12,000. Now, I've never spent $12,000 on Sisley, right? But it's like having that long-term vision with anything that you build, right? So, you know, I need to reconsider a whole lot of things. But I'm like, it really is a blessing, and it truly is a privilege to have 2 YouTube channels that are monetized, because there are people who don't even have one. There are people who don't even have one channel monetized. Okay, there are people who don't even have one channel monetized. There are people out here who are like begging God for 4,000 views, right? 4,000 watch hours. There are people who are begging God for 1,000 subscribers. You understand? But it's like me. I have it. I have 2 monetized channels. Even the B palette. The B palette channel is almost like it's getting close to being monetized too, huh? But it's like. I want these things to be monetized, and then when I get my channel monetized, I don't want to post the content like that. I don't want to push myself to like really create like, you know, big content, but you know, maybe I should reconsider a whole lot of things. You should start. You should start. You should really start, because YouTube can really change your life. I've seen it, right? Just me and my ego. Like, why would I start from the bottom? Like, I should be at the top. I'm an OG. Like, why would I start from the bottom? Like, it's so embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like, it's your ego. Like, I can't even lie to you. I need to be honest, right? But it's like, once you push past that, though, I think once I push past that, I can do lots of great things. I really can. You know, yeah, like you beg God to be monetized, like you beg, and then it finally happens. You're like, what am I gonna do with 100 views? Like, what am I gonna do with 200 views, right? And we shouldn't say that. You have to really you gotta have a posture of gratitude. You know, even if your channel just makes $1, you know, like you didn't like, because once you make the content, it just starts making money by itself, right? So we gotta be grateful for everything, even $1, because in some places $1 can buy you a bottle of water. You know what I mean? Like money is money. You know what I mean? Money is money. And if you see like in real life, rich people who are very wealthy, they are very cheap. Even Beyonce does her own makeup because she don't want to pay people. Okay, like. Rich people are very cheap. Like, very wealthy people are very stingy with their money. A lot of them use coupons, do discounts, complain to get a child. They are exhausting, right? It's only like people who just got into money, or people who want to pretend to have money, that just squander money like it's nothing. Treat money like it's water running out of a faucet, right? But most people who are very, 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 very rich, okay? You know what I'm saying? They do not play with their coins. They don't play with their coins. They are very cheap, austere. Is that how you say it? So, you know what I mean? But I'm like, $1 is $1, $5 is $5, right? And in the long run, it just builds and it becomes an even bigger and bigger amount. So I need to mature. I need to grow up, be more mature, have less pride about myself, have less ego about myself, and post my beauty videos, because I really do love beauty though. For myself, I just think it's so pretty. You know, and I'm like, man, I can't believe that you have all these NARS foundations out there, and I have not reviewed a single one, because I'm upset. I'm in my feelings. Like, man, fuck this shit. The fuck is this shit, right? What is this mess? Like, whatever, whatever. But I need to change that. And when it comes to my my fitness channel too, I need to put more. I need to put more videos up. I need to put more videos up. Oh, Angela, I'm telling you, like, it's like, oh gosh, I need to be more mature. But creating like anything, not even just YouTube, like being also like creating content, period. And whatever, like, because whether you stick with, like, you start off with this niche, you know, you might not stick to it, but it doesn't matter. What matters is like getting better at creating content, right? And being consistent. because you just get better. You get better with the music. You get better with your cuts. You get better with your storytelling. You get better like communicating with people, because you know the thing about creating content is like you learn to communicate with people through videos, right? And videos are a powerful medium. You know, you can do a lot with videos. Like you can make people sad, make people happy, make them want to buy, make them want to trust you. Like you can do a lot with the video, right? So when you know how to communicate, when you become a great marketer, like, you know, you win. You win. You win. Because it's like, that's what it's all about. Like you truly, truly win. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what? Maybe I should get back to my beauty stuff. It'll probably do me some good. Child was in my feelings. But I'm thinking, like, when would I actually have time to do makeup, though? Child, I have so much to do. I don't know. We'll see. But I would love to, I can at least try to do, like, one skincare video, though, a week. I can try to do one skincare video a week. I wanted to do skincare lives, actually. But I couldn't figure that out. But then again, I sit here and just talk for hours, so I don't know. Maybe we could do, like, love and skincare. You know, love advice and skincare, life advice and skincare. Let's talk about life and skincare. I don't know, like where I talk and just do skincare at once. But I really wanted to do that. I wanted to do like a skincare thing, like a bunch of skincare videos. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, you guys. So that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something, right? A factor a while back? I don't know. We were printing stuff. What factor was that? I don't know. But I'm good though. I'm good. Gotta organize my mind a bit, but we're good. Ah, Lord Jesus. I have to find a way to do those skincare videos. I really do. I really do. Because I wanted to do it live. I wanted to do like live skincare videos. With the steamer and everything. But then I gave up on that. I was like, it's too much work. I can't be bothered. But it's like, you got to start somewhere. There's this girl here, this white girl, like she does her nails. She does nail art. Oh, yeah, that was like years ago. Oh my gosh, I lost my office. But there's this girl on here, like she does nail videos. Like she does her nails on YouTube. Girl, when I tell you she goes live. She goes live. And she paints her nails on YouTube. I'm talking like, when she's done, it's like 200,000 views and I'm like, nail polish? Nail polish? Like, people just stay on her live. Crazy people get on. I need to find her channel. People stay on her live and just watch her do her nails. I said, oh my gosh. So now she has like her own line of like nail polish and things like that. I'm like, this is crazy. This is really, really crazy. Oh yeah. I would love to do like skincare and like, but I want to do it live. Cause the thing I love going live though. I really do love going live. I like how you talk to people and like, you know, people talk to you and go back and forth and stuff. I think that's kind of cute. People can ask you questions and then you get more watch time hours. Like when you do live stuff, you get more watch time hours. Like more people, because people keep watching the entire live. So you get more watch hours that way than when you just like doing like a regular video and just post, because you know people might not watch it. But with the live, when you go live, people can interact with you and, you know, do all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Just gotta see how I want to do that. Girl, like, no, not 200,000. I've seen people get that though. Like there's this guy here, like Patrick something. Like he has like this Republican conservative like manosphere type of channel. I have seen him go live and have like 150,000 people on the live on YouTube. I have seen it with my own eyes, okay? But I'm like, when she's done with the live and like she'll post a video, like she can have like 200,000 views. 250,000 views. She just does her nails. What's her channel? I was like, what is this? I'm like, this is insane. Like she just does her nails. And the people eat it up. So I was like, oh, I would love to do lives, but I'm like, I want to do like skincare lives. You know what I mean? Like if I could do like skincare lives, like that to me would be really cool. So I could just like talk about the product you know, use the product, you know, and like, you know, do all kinds of stuff with the product, like, but do it on the live. But I just feel like it would be nice if we had like other topics, like, oh, maybe like love and skincare, love advice and skincare, girlfriend advice and skincare, sipping tea and skincare. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes. You know, like something like that, like to make it more interesting. Like it's not just skincare, but like it's also like life advice and like, you know, I think like I'm like that's what I'm trying to think about. Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, it's just like another skincare video, because that can get boring real quick. Where is she? I have to find her. Oh yeah, Simply Not Logical. Is that what it is? I think her channel's like Simply Not Logical. Let me see. Because she gets a lot of views just doing her nails. I'm like, what the what? Yeah, so I was like, maybe do it like this. But then we can't do like crazy topics too, because I'm like, we have to get the channel, like the... Yeah, her channel's called Simply Not Logical. She has 2.78 million subscribers. So almost 2.8 million subscribers. And all she does, she goes live. See, she just... All she does is a bunch of live. I feel like maybe she started off with Twitch, because her setup looks like a Twitch like streamer type of stuff. Yeah, all she does, she just goes live and she does her nails. Yeah. So her channel is called Simply Not Logical. You'll find her. I'm like, girl, is that what you do? So I'm like, I would love to do, like, that's what I'm like, I would love to stream. I would love to do live, but like skincare lives. You know what I'm saying? And we could talk about anything. You know what I'm saying? Just talk about like skincare or whatever. But it's like the whole thing is just like us going live. And like we have different topics. We can make like tea. We can have different things. I don't know. I'll think about that. But I'm like, that's what I would love to do. Like go live just talking about skincare. Like I even have like my little skincare stuff. Like my little headband type of stuff. I even have those. So I'm like, yeah, we could talk about skincare. Just go live and just talk about skincare. You know. Maybe we'll start doing that on Monday. Who knows? But I just think that would be really cool. I thought that would be really, really nice. Just gotta figure out my schedule stuff. But her channel is Simply Not Logical. That is her channel. And that's all she does. That is all she does. There are even people I saw, like there are channels that I saw, but it's like a lot of them are like Asian, like Korean channels. But like, you know, of like YouTubers, they don't even talk. They just go from one place to another, getting all kinds of facials. It's like ASMR facials, ASMR scrub my back, ASMR do something to my hair, all kinds of ASMR stuff that they do, right? These people get so many views. And I'm like, so you pretty much get paid to get massages and then you just record without you talking? This is crazy. That is really, really crazy. So when it comes to creating content, like, it's just, the possibilities are just like endless. Like there's just so much you can do. There's just so much you can do. Because there's an audience for pretty much anything. You know, you just gotta make the content and the way you edit, make it interesting, and just do a pretty cool thumbnail and then put it out there. And then, you know, trust God, trust your luck. All right? So my peeps, it's like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I need to go to sleep. I gotta go work out tomorrow. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll leave it up, I guess. This one wasn't too bad. We didn't say anything bad or crazy, so probably this one could stay up. But yeah, so enjoy this video. I'll be here. I'll leave it on. All right? So I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully. But, I mean, if I come back tomorrow night. But yeah, otherwise, enjoy your Friday. Okay? Bisous. Gotta go. She's tired.